Oh, like, wait, hold on 1 second. Hold on, I gotta take a call. Just give me 2 seconds.
Okay. No, go.
Oh no, y'all just tied it up, you punk asses. Y'all just tied it up.
We should cape this on.
You just tied it up. Y'all ain't shit. No worry. Get out of here. Don't worry. What is up? We had to leave. We still got it. You still got y'all.
So as you know, Dallas is playing OKC. Oh, they just scored, and my label vice president is at the game.
Oh, no shit.
Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock ticks faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock tick 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 tick, the clock tick 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 faster. Living off borrowed time, the clock 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 tick faster.
So this is the Living Off Borrowed Time podcast. I am Patrique McGovern, Patrique on RYM. You have to subscribe to see my wonderful content because I have been silenced by the powers that be. Joined not by my usual podcast partner, Caleb, Optimal Audio on RYM, but by Thought Foul, who you may remember from our Rock Marciano, Mr. Motherfucking Esquire, and most recently Backwoodz Studios episodes, which is very relevant to our other guest this episode, who is by far our most notable guest, member of ShrapKnel, Wrecking Crew, and his own damn solo catalog, which is very formidable. He reached out to us for reasons that I would very curious to know. Just one of our favorites, as you would know if you've listened to our podcast. He's appeared on our year-end best ofs. Ladies and gentlemen, pleasure, honor, and privilege to welcome Curly Castro to the podcast. Castro, welcome.
What's up?
Dub phasers, whatever you like.
No, what's good?
Curly, welcome podcast. Thank you so much for being with us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. First off, why do y'all call you? What's the title of your podcast? What's that mean?
It is the very first lyrics from my single favorite album of all time, Mad Villainy.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
And also, I firmly believe that if you look outside, look at the world, we are all, in fact, living off borrowed time.
Indeed. It's not Doom's best project, but it's a good source.
I mean, we can get into it. Like, I figured we were only going to start arguing. Talked about your love of Lost and Heroes, but we can also argue about.
It's true. I'm looking at my Heroes DVD collection right over there, brother. What you talking about? I just watched a synopsis on Heroes Reborn.
We're immediately going to scrap. I got Bluue Edwards at a 10 out of 10, and I still I don't even know what "Save the Cheerleader" means.
Oh yeah, man.
I know those fucking commercials were on all the goddamn time.
It means save the world. You know the translation. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
It was just like those commercials about his daughter, her father's the district attorney. Those commercials were on all the time too. I didn't know that.
No. Don't worry about it. It's okay. We don't need it. Tim Kring and us, we're good. We had who we had. We had our run. We don't need any extra fans. Trust us. So we doing good.
I'm under the impression that Heroes is like Heroes and Lost are like The Walking Dead. It's another one of those shows that's like has an abusive.
Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. I watched every single episode of Walking Dead, all spinoffs except Fear the Walking Dead, which I watch intense recaps of. Watch your mouth. Every episode.
I'm a pro wrestling fan. I'm used to having an abusive relationship with the media that I love.
That's cool. I've watched every episode of Walking Dead. Even when it got bad, I watched it.
Yeah. Dexter? Are you a Dexter fan as well? Or are you
No, I skipped Dexter. I was big into X-Files.
Okay, we can relate on that. I was X-Files through season 8. I was X-Files through when they fake killed Mulder. Then I was out.
I stayed on when they brought in some homeboy Patrick, and it was weird.
Yeah,
I'm a Games of Thrones. I've watched all Game of Thrones episodes, even when the Benioff boys. I just call them boys because it's Benioff and Weiss, but I can't stand both of them. But I will say they did really good job on Three Body Problem. So
Game of Thrones, the whole other discussion. I was out on 5 or whatever, where basically just like, I don't know, abuse more women is our solution to everything. And then I came back for I'm more of a book Game of Thrones guy, but
I read the books. I read the books too. So I got into it, man. But yeah, let's get into yeah. So we have different tastes in
television, media.
We have different tastes in things, but one of the things that I really love about the art that you put out is you can take things that I may or may not like or understand, and you synthesize it into music that I fucking love.
No doubt.
Because
it's a skill for sure.
I would say Bluue Edwards is a great example of that, because I don't understand like 2/3 of what you're saying on that project. I fucking love it. So.
But Bluue Edwards is a giant allegory, because I'm actually dissing somebody on the whole record. Most people don't know that.
No,
I mean, you are welcome to.
I don't expound like that. I'm giving you the rubric. I'm dissing somebody on the whole record. So
all right.
Now, when you go back and listen to it,
fair enough.
Keep that in mind. Keep that umbrella idea in mind.
Give the map, and we can. All right, that's a reason to go back and revisit it again. Mm-hmm. I revisited most of it today, and I just enjoyed generally kind of listening for more or less the beats, and just, I don't know, I'm sounding like a fucking moron here.
Good, we appreciate that. I'll tell Smalls he likes those type of compliments.
No, that's someone else. Yeah, actually, the reason that I first got into y'all's music was the man behind those beats. So, because I started with the Small Pro stuff, and that because it was mainly what Small Pro and Zilla wrote on Passion of the Weiss that got me into writing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I'll tell Zilla. Zilla likes people that used to read his writing, so I'll give him that too. That's what's up.
Does he still? I mean, I've fallen off on reading Weiss. Does he still write there or not?
No, it's kind of sporadic. He'll contribute to some year-end lists and stuff like that, but I don't know he's written any full articles anymore in a while.
I mean, I do appreciate, because that was a big part of my rap fandom was Weiss and Smoking Section, and I do know that Weiss is like, they're very proudly still put, like, I still get their email spam, and I have not unsubscribed from it. So, but I do appreciate that they're still doing. They're like one of the very few out there still putting out that content. So
yeah, Jeff is good people's
for sure. So, but yeah, so basically on the podcast, what we've done, first of all, I mean, just right out the gate, why us? We have like 100 fucking subscribers on YouTube. Why us?
So I was like searching through podcasts actually, and I don't know what I was searching for. I think I might even put like Backwoodz in there, and I was looking at and I bumped into your podcast, and I saw some of the timestamps on them. And when I was looking through, I saw that y'all had a Wrecking Crew little piece. So I was like, oh, let me look at this. Let's see what they don't like. And so I'm listening, and it's decent, and just being dead honest, y'all said something pretty peculiar. And I don't know if it was your other partner, because I know somebody else is on the call. But y'all had said that my album Little Robert Hutton was a mess. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
And I'm sorry, and that's everybody's opinion, but I would like to expound on that opinion. But what really got me to want to meet y'all and talk to y'all is something you said, which was pretty interesting. You tell me your full name here.
Patrique.
Yeah, hey Pat. So you had said that you heard that I was sick, and then you felt bad about how you felt about my album. And I have to confront you on that, brother. You're a critic. You have opinions. That's a little lazy out. If I'm sick or not, shouldn't mind. If you don't like my music, if you don't like the album, then you should hold fast to that. I don't think me being sick should change your opinion. So I'm just curious about that. I don't want the pity. I've been around for a long time, so I don't need the pity, but I'm just curious as to, did you really change your opinion because of that, or were you just
absolutely not? I will own that one. I'm gonna hold the L on that one. I found the album overwhelming on first listen, and saying a mess was a very unfair thing for me to say. It was more overwhelming would be a much more fair take on that. Okay. I would say I originally had it at a 7. I re-listened to it for this, and I would probably up it to an 8. And I would say that I felt felt bad as that was a shitty thing to say. First of all, a shitty way to put that. And I will chalk that up more to the fact that I drink a lot when I do these podcasts and I'm inarticulate.
That's all good. Zilla
that is, I'm completely owned. I just said that. And it was more that I wanted to say that I owed the album more listens. And I've given it 2 full listens. I actually bought the CD because I felt like it owed more time in the car.
Okay.
And having given it more listens, I've given it 2 full listens since. I would say that in terms of, it's definitely your most Backwoodz album, I would say. That tied with Metal Long.
Explain that.
Just being very dense. In terms of being very dense.
Oh, wait, Backwoodz is all dense. We got Dunce Cap, baby. He's light as hell. I'm just curious.
Okay. Well, first of all, if you listen to our Backwoodz episode, we're very complimentary to Dunce Cap, and I think we agree on that in terms of the fact that he's like, that's his tone. Like,
he's lighthearted.
Yeah. He's whimsical.
He's very whimsy. Oh, Dunce is very whimsy.
He's whimsical in the same sort of. He's got like that Quelle Chris sense of humor.
Yes. A little learned. But you need a little intelligence to get some of the jokes, but it's there.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not to cut you off. I just Dense is fine. I don't want you to use that as a wall for any Backwoodz projects. Like, don't think they're all dense. Like they, what I'm saying? Like they open up. You know what I mean?
I would agree. And you have something like I'm looking at it over here. High Bias, I would say, is a lot more similar to like Sedale Threat in terms of being like a posse cut album that's got like
it's a compilation type.
Compilation that's got like noisier soundscapes. It's like the Backwoodz sound, but also the raps are, I think, like more appropriate.
Well, Sedale Threat, I would compare it more to maybe like Steel's Kitchen.
Okay.
Just because of the way we put like Steel's Kitchen and Raheem's Lament, those are like compilations we put together. So Sedale Threat was more of like a Wrecking Crew concentrated thing. Like you get all 3 of us rapping on the album, a lot more Smalls production, shit like that. So I would High Bias in particular, because that's just how Woods put it together. So it's like compilation. Some of the tracks exist on a couple of things. I like that he does that. That's a little old school throwback for him. When he puts like records on multiple things, I don't think anybody minds having it on multiple people.
Glad that we got the elephant in the room right out the way, because I was like, we pissed you off. I'm sure.
No, it wasn't that. It was. I wanted to talk to you, young man. And
I deserve a little bit of chiding for that, because that was a shitty thing to say, and it was more that I had not engaged with the record, and I took it. First of all, I took it in the car. Like, I got the CD. I took it in the car. That was 1 listen. I took it on a walk yesterday. That was 2 listens. And there was stuff on there that deserved much.
Now, mind you, I don't get it twisted. I did create a pretty heady album. I know that. You know what I'm saying? It was deliberate, and there was some homework woven in there.
Yes, but I feel like there's humor in it too, and I feel like that's why you and Woods work together very well, is because you balance the headiness and the humor really well. And honestly, I think there's a parallel to be made very intentionally between ShrapKnel and Arm & Hammer. And that's why maybe...
that's a little unfair to us. They don't.
I'm sure you're but
no, I know.
You also had Elusive produce the first ShrapKnel, right?
Yes,
well, the second.
Yes, we did. No, first one. Well, the first LP.
The majority of it, right? Yeah.
Yes, he did the majority, and Willie Green did the other tracks. I think 3 tracks. Yeah.
So
just on the topic of like people reaching out to us, we recently, probably 2 years ago now, we did an episode about Mr. Motherfucking Esquire, and like months later, he just commented all over the video, and like he'd listened to it and he'd given all his feedback and said he loved listening to it, but then the comments disappeared, and I was like, oh shit, like, was there something that he missed that he then like listened back to and wasn't impressed by? So I don't know. It's just it's interesting just having people reach out, because we're basically nobodies, just kind of fucking around.
I get that, and you never know. You never know who's listening.
No,
and also the just more little gems. I'm not the best at like you want to have interaction with your podcast when you're not podcasting. Get what I'm saying? So like sometimes make it a routine to check your messages, see what the stars and the ratings are, because sometimes I don't check, but I have 2 other cats that will. And then you want people to think that if they're leaving a message or a comment or a star, you want them to think they're not just shouting into the void. So then you go check those things and you can respond to that. And then like we just started a Discord. I'm horrible at it, but there's this one guy in India. He talks to us all the time on this Discord. He's sending us pictures of India. They had like a little windstorm or something. His building fell over. I'm like, yo, it's going down over there. He's sending us live video talking about he trying to order the albums and shit. Yeah, so it's pretty dope. But you always try to keep that connectivity going. So that's why I'm. So one, I just want to say I'm appreciative that y'all having me on the show when I reached out. That's good business. So thank you.
No, well, thank you for. Yeah, thank you. And I do regret not giving the album a fair. And I mostly regret that that's how it came across on the show, because that was not a good way to put that. And
no, I actually, Pat, to tell you the truth, I don't think you didn't listen to it. Like you said, it was overwhelming. So I think you I wanted to see you. I wanted to know your opinions. Because I am working on a solo. I did say that in a message. I'm working on a solo right now, and you know, I want to get the opinions of my listeners, whether they're fans or not, and you know, see what's good. You know what I'm saying? So what was overwhelming about it at first?
Well, what was overwhelming about it at first, I think, was that as a listener, as somebody who's listened since Wu-Tang Pulp, which is probably my favorite.
That's what's up. Wu-Tang Pulp is
honestly, yeah. I remember we were talking about Pro. I remember bothering Pro on SoulSeek about when's this fucking Wu-Tang Pulp coming out.
Yeah.
He keep putting the fucking single, like, the tracks on Weiss. It's like, when's this coming out? He's like, I want it to come out as much as you do. But there's been, you know,
salute to you for that. That's a big formative piece in Wrecking Crew, period. Like,
well, I was looking over at my High Bias on the shelf right there. I can also I have one of the 50 Wu-Tang Pulp CDs as well. Actually,
we pressed those up. So Wu-Tang Pulp was born in the download era. So where your main goal was to see how many media fire downloads there was, but everything was free. You know what I'm saying? And then we put it up for pay what you want. And the thing about Wu-Tang Pulp that changed our direction and changed our whole directives and actually our whole operating style was people were willing to pay money. When you do that, pay what you want, people will put the 000s in there a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. Things are tough. And some people say they're going to come back. But a lot of times with customers, especially with digital commerce, most people don't go back. You know what I'm saying? If they say they're going to go back, they say they'll come back and buy something else, they might not come back. So you want to catch a customer right then and there. You got to make that sale when you got them in the box. And we noticed that people were paying decent amount of money for Wu Pulp, like honoring us for, yo, this is a dope project. Here's $10. Here's $30. Somebody gave us like a couple of $100. They liked it that much. And we were like, oh, word. So it was digital for the longest. And, you know, as we were building our catalog on Bandcamp and stuff, we're still digital. And I remember me and Z had a very serious, stern talk with each other about creating catalog. You know what I'm saying? Like we're fans just as much as we're participants. So you look at, like, remember how Stone Store would take you downstairs to their warehouse and they would do performances down there, and you see like big box shelvings, a lot of CDs and vinyl and t-shirts. Like, you can hit up Stone Store, they have everything. They have I Self Divine, anything you want, they have. And that's the nature of a good company that caters to their customers. You don't want to lose a customer because they go to your site and they're looking for something sold out. Sold out looks good and it's good for promotional, but it's not good for commerce, because the minute something is sold out, the 3 minutes after that, you're not selling your product because it's sold out, right? So I always wanted to create catalog and develop product, and we didn't have that. We had a lot of digital things because that was the era, you know, downloads and sending digital versions of albums, and you didn't have to pay production costs, because back in the day you had to order 1,000 CDs, you had to order 100 t-shirts. That was the base order, you know what I'm saying? Then you had to figure out what to do with them. Nowadays you can do smaller packages, you know your audience, you can order what you know you can sell. And I was like, yo, we need physical catalog. Like, we need to be at a show. And we've had varying success and losses with this, was actually pressing up CDs ourselves or going to pressing plants and stuff. But I was like, when we got to Wu Pulp, we were so away from that. I said, no, we need to do this. We need to press this up. And we made that CD. Thank you, Pat, for making that purchase. And we made that CD, and we made it a point that, again, I'm against that selling out. I like it. It looks good. I know it's good for the chatter and the chatter and stuff online. But I like to, when a customer looks up, hey man, you got a copy of this? Yes, we do. I'll mail it to you in a week. You know what I mean? And so Wu Pulp was the beginning of that, per se.
Well,
yes.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm very curious, because I feel like there was like a change in like the Wrecking Crew model over time, like, and in terms of like catering to, I don't know if collectors is the right word or customers or whatever, but I feel like, yes, originally you were going for the media fire fan base,
Yes.
whatever. And then I feel like maybe you've talked about this on Call Out Culture, how like, I think it was the retirement episode that like Future Former Rapper was like Zilla's like retirement album.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
then it wasn't. And
yes,
then,
I was very mad at my man. He knows that. Very mad. I mean, I was happy he was expanding his family, but I was like, what you mean? Because it was me and him, you know, like in terms of our operating system, it's me and him. Like we kind of run Wrecking Crew in terms of like the admin and shit like that. And he was also my main studio. You know what I mean? And I'm still in this era of this is important, fellas, saving money. Like I wasn't even paying friends just yet. Paying friends is important because you get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, this is my free studio. What am I going to do if he shuts the studio down? So at first it was a very selfish concern of mine. I'm not even going to lie. I was definitely willing. I couldn't wait for my nephew to get here. But taking my partner away, I was being selfish. But what it made me do was it made me mobilize like, all right, Castro, you need to find another recording situation. You can't burden your man anymore. He got family things to do. He might not be able to rap. And again, I didn't understand that because I knew people that had kids that still kept rapping, but he was very serious and forward thinking about where his time was going to be. And I respected him for that. So he made this record and I'm being supportive. You notice I'm on the record like 3 times, but I'm like, damn, this is really the last record. But I was like, all right, let me not be reactive. Let me be proactive. And that's when I started developing relationships with Dove, Still to Dove, and started going to New York a lot and making recording trips there. I got, I'm really tuned into my man iLive. I actually do a lot of my solo work at his studio. He stays out in Philly, up in East Falls, and just developing relationships that I wouldn't have to burden my friends with my recording needs. You know what I'm saying? And so it was a good thing because it made us self-sufficient. And also I was just trying to tell him, man, you ain't got to quit. You know, I could take off some pressure. It's no problem. Zilla's a very big administrative operational cat. So he takes on a lot of that stuff. And so I could see him thinking like, you know, I got to raise my son. I ain't going to have time to be doing spreadsheets and album covers and all that other stuff. But he found a way. And it's funny because now he has a whole label. And back then we was talking about, we're never doing a label again because we had different situations beforehand. And now he has $3 Pistol Up and cracking. So it's just kind of ironic and funny. Now his kid, now his son is 7 and he's on records, you know?
Yeah. It's just, I noticed the difference from when it was just downloads to just maybe 1 or 2, CDs every once in a while to everything has like a bunch of different issues now with different variants. And there's also
packaging. Yeah. We went into it. We went down. We went for it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Him for Grift though, because Grift also has the stuff that comes out that's really nice. Another thing I have that I'm really proud of is Fireside Chats had a really nice
Insubordinate. Yeah, that's my brother right there. Yes,
so it just seems like the whole collective just really kind of mobilized.
Yeah, that became important. You wanted to reward, and Grift says it's called rewarding investors. He calls them investors. You know what I'm saying? Like you want your people that support you to think that they're part of the process because that makes them long-term investors. You know, like cats that got with Earl when he was spitting up on himself, they stole with him. You know what I mean? Like you want people to join along for the ride. You know what I mean? And so you try to give them product and things that will reward that ride. You know what I'm saying? Like stick with me. Like we got the new ShrapKnel record coming out in a few weeks actually. So I hope that I can send y'all an advance if y'all want.
That would be a tremendous.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
I could. When we get off, I'll send you a link and y'all can review it on the show. You're not obligated because I almost put my foot in my mouth with another writer. And not obligated, but I'll send y'all the record.
Well, I mean, if you're sick, then I'll have to be obligated to say it's nice.
I love it. And also, I would like to say that I'm also.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Val, just to get my point out real quick.
Yes, sir.
Just go back there to the point about investors, though. And what I noticed is everything I bought from Wrecking Crew, from Zilla, and from Lady Scorsese, when I buy the Scorsese Grift stuff, is there's always a handwritten note saying Zilla's always like, thank you for having impeccable taste. And Lady Scorsese is like, thank you for being an investor. Like there's just that personal touch on it. So just not to be too much.
You gotta win fans over one by one. You know what I mean? Like it seems Sisyphus, Sisyphusian, as they say, pushing that boulder up the hill, but it's one by one. You know what I mean? we still have some fans like me and Z. We see our orders. We still recognize some names, and that's comforting. You know what I mean? Because you go through a lot. You know, in being an artist, you change things. You might flip your fans upside down. You know. But also, I want to say for the record, I'm on this podcast with y'all while my Thunder are playing Game 6 elimination game. I'm losing my mind, but hip hop lives, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm a Sixers fan, so
yeah, and I'm here. I'm in Philly, so I know what y'all suffering through.
I mean,
Zilla's a diehard. He bleeds blue and red, so it's all good.
It's whatever. It's what it is. So, but yeah, so basically on the podcast, what we've done with artists is kind of go through their career from the beginning to where they're at currently. And so we maybe like to do that with you real quick. Go through your releases. The very first would be, your very, very first, correct us if we're wrong on anything, would be your appearance on the 5 O'Clock Shadowboxers EP, right? Broken Clocks was your very first on record. Was that correct?
I did stuff before Zilla. Before I got on that, but that would be the first like Wrecking Crew-ish.
Well, what did you do prior to? Because
I feel like you've mentioned on Call Out Culture multiple times, like about your old crews. But does any of that exist, or is that all kind of
we have CDs. You can go on iTunes right now, and you'll see. I was in a group called Bohemian. Awesome. Yeah, no, I can start earlier. So in 2004, I was in a group called Bohemian Fifth. And we had self-released a record called We the People. It's still on iTunes and Spotify right now. And it's me and like 3 of my other partners. There's a 5th cat, but it was really mainly 4 of us. I started rapping a long time ago. So that was my first official release. It was for sale, barcode and all that stuff. We had management and all that good shit. We had meetings. I met Jazzy Jeff back in the day at Touch of Jazz. We met with like Rough House Management, you know, just trying. We were compared to damn, I just had their name in my what's the name of the that group, Wooden Leather, that like 6-man group from like Mississippi. What was they called? Damn,
you are asking the wrong person.
I know they're a little older.
Blanking.
Y'all done up and done it. Hell nah, y'all. Anyway, like we had a live band, so we were compared to like Roots and like there was a big live band, Philly movement at that time, and so we were doing that. Eventually that dissolved and I started, I had a duo for a while and that was rolling and that was pretty good. And then we started like a collective called Squad Zilla. So that's the irony of me meeting Zilla later. So I was in a crew called Squad Zilla. And when I caught wind of Zilla, I was on a Rampage back then. I was much younger. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna go find this motherfucker. Why is his name Zilla Rocca? Like I was pissed off and shit. You know that story. I was like, yo, I'm gonna find him. This is before we knew each other. And I was like, yo, he in the scene? He using our name? You know what I'm saying? And I was just messing, but I was like, I was looking for him. And so that dissolved and I had to start a solo career, like a true one. Like I always was in like crews, cliques, and clans, as people say. But I had to get my solo on. And doing that is when I bumped into Zilla in the Philadelphia scene. And then that led to the collaboration you're speaking of. So then we could start the timeline there.
All right. So so you bumped into Zilla, South Philly. I'm curious because so Winston's Appeal, that's now you can get it completely free on Bandcamp. Some tracks turn up on the 2019 reissue of Fidel. But you talk about this album. You talk about I believe I forget where it is, but you say like there's an album like on a release later. You don't really talk about this like it's your debut album. You talk about Fidel like it's your debut album, and then you have on the Fidel reissue a few as the tracks from this as your bonus. So it's almost a little bit like you kind of disown this as your debut. Do you? Yeah,
it was more so
dry run.
Yeah, so I condensed it. So it was called Winston's Appeal. And then we condensed it to like Winston's Dub Plate, and then we threw it on the back of the Fidel disc because I put out Fidel as a tape first,
right?
It was like a red tape, and that was with my old label Man by Store Records, and so we sold out of the tapes, and I did another run of tapes with another project I did called Restroy and Debuild. And so when I put the CD together, I was like, you know what? We need to give them a little something extra than just what I put out on tape. So then that's when I condensed Winston's Appeal to Winston's Dub Plate. And I threw that on the end of Fidel. So you felt like, you know, was more space on it than on a CD. So I just felt like I just wanted to give more. And there was some good songs, some good stuff from the first foray. You know what I mean? But those were a lot of songs I used to perform, do live. So I felt I owed them a proper physical release as well. So I picked the best songs from that, put that at the end of Fidel, and it made it like a deluxe.
So, like, because we do the whole thing typically where we go through, you know, like an artist's discography, typically from the beginning. So, I hadn't heard anything prior to Winston's Appeal. So,
cool.
Listening to Winston's Appeal, one of the things that stood out to me was that your style was like already, you know, pretty well formed, and I'm wanting to know if it's differs from how your style was in your old groups, or you know how long it kind of took to get to that point in terms of like you know your delivery. I'd find that maybe your lyrics get a bit more abstract further into your career. So you know, is there any difference there from how you're rapping on Winston's Appeal to prior, or what's
a big difference. I mean, like I said, I just gave y'all the jewels. If you go back and listen to the Bohemian 5th CD, I'm in a group. So some of my style is evident there, but like content wise, I you know, it's for the greater good of the song. So a lot of the stuff that I end up talking about on Winston's and Fidel and further, I didn't say that in both fifth because it wasn't allowed. It wasn't part of our aesthetic, our vocal aesthetic, if you will. And so you'll see me expanding on that. I also think some of that stuff kind of sucks. You know what I mean? I just feel like my style has evolved since then, even from Winston's. And so some of the stuff on Fidel is like a lot of good ideas that I'm just getting off. And also like my first solo expression. So maybe that's why I discredit Winston's a little bit, because I feel like Fidel, I was fully formed. And yeah, my style is pretty different, very different. I think when I first started, I had a lot of words. And my number one MC obviously is LP. And so when LP was doing his thing, I wasn't as technically savvy as him. So I wasn't layering my vocals and stuff. I just was like, yo, he can stuff that many words in there. I can too. He makes me right. You know what I'm saying? He justifies me. He justifies my existence. And so I was like, all right, boom. And then later on, I figured out I need to take some words out. I very much got into the style of like, you know, very delicately picking prepositional phrases that are necessary to express something or not. And that allowed me to open up and have a better flow. And then that allowed me to insert some of my Caribbean heritage and things of that nature. And so I was able to do that. Yep.
That's an interesting way to put it, because that's like a Hemingway thing to like, it's the, you know, the words you don't say, like to give space to the room essentially, which is like, Cram's always making those Hemingway references. Yeah. And I kind of feel like, that's I think that's like a young rapper sort of thing, you know.
You're just busy. You just want to say, and you know, and then you have like somebody get successful like Eminem, and you're like, see, he does it, and I'm like, you know, what I'm saying?
It might be a weird reference to make because this is no one's favorite album, but I feel like early Quali is the one who's like always stuffing, like he's got that like I'm whispering in a movie theater flow where he's whispering all these words. But then my favorite Quali album actually that's not Black Star is Eardrum. Okay. And he's like really like giving room to, like, with the exception of the one terrible track with Kanye on it that like no fuck that song, but like he's giving room to everything. Like there's like space to what he's saying, and like his punchlines have room to breathe and everything. Whereas something like Reflection Eternal, like he's got so many syllables on that it's just like he's trying to impress you. Even on Black Star, it's just like he's just like speeding up.
Black Star is the biggest trick in the world. If you listen to Definition, you think there's a great flow of his until you try to repeat it. When you try to do, you're like, wait a second, this is kind of hard. Why does it sound like? Why is it so hard? It sounds because Most is flowing his ass off, and most of stuff you can do at Brooklyn, you know, you can do it easy. But then you get to Quali, and it's a little difficulty because he was clanky. He was clanky back then, but he tricked us with 2000 Seasons. It's all good, man.
The thing is, when Most became Yasin, I remember all these comment threads like, "Oh, he's lazy now." I'm like, I like this. I really like this. Like the dude's really settled. Like the Ecstatic is maybe my favorite Most album. Like,
it is. It is the favorite. Even if you don't know it is the favorite. It's the most. He's in his bag. Most. And look, I went to that weirdo museum exhibit thing. I went to that.
Oh shit! The thing in Brooklyn though, you had to put the headphones on? Yes, I remember.
It's kind of rough because you don't retain a lot, so you just try to have it like as an experience. Like, I can't tell you a verse or beat or anything like that. Not anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very interesting experience, and he'll probably never put it out. But
I think
it was more
now
experiment than full
like,
LP.
But yeah, so I feel like that's just like a maturation as an artist, that you don't have to put every thought in your head out as quickly as possible. So I think, yeah, it's like the difference between like early quality and eardrum, which I don't know, that always settled with me, is just that.
When he settled down and calmed down and doing some Bluue songs and stuff, that stuff is a lot better, to be honest.
And I guess like a more relatable thing for a lot of people, although I kind of have my own feelings on this for a lot of reasons, is like LP versus company flow LP.
LP is like, look, he's my favorite, and I love Fantastic Damage. I love I'll Sleep When You Dead. But him as an MC, he's turned into a Godzilla. He is so much more iller now. Like it's almost hard to explain, because back in the day, we know he would stuff the syllables, he would layer the vocals, he would say some really ill words and stuff like that, but he had a really ill, acerbic, like serrated blade of a flow, like a saw. It's gonna two, three pulls, it's gonna cut through everything. You know what I'm saying? Right? And now he's like a surgeon, and especially because of Mike being on the other side. You know, Mike's a flow master, but Mike don't be saying stuff a lot. LP be spitting. Oh my god.
Think about something like Angel Duster, like something like that, where it's just like really precision, like you're saying, surgical.
Yeah, he's gone there. I love it, yo. He's really gone there, yo.
So I think Winston's appeal. I think there's certain stuff on there that you're doing though that I think kind of predicts where you would go, like Catch a Riot or Rebel. The first two tracks I think kind of sort of predict where you would go with like fleshing out a concept, and also the way you kind of have the ingredients and Eulogy to L back to back. That's really clever, where you talk about like what formed you and how pissed off you are that this one dude sold out.
Yo, the Eulogy to L was funny because Z gave me that beat, and I was like, I didn't know why, but something about at that time, L was just pissing me off or something like that. And I was like, man, you used to be so cool, man, with your bucket hat and your chains and box. You know, I'm going way back, or your pink cookies in a plastic bag, all that. You used to be so cool. And then, he's to me now he's back being cool. But he had a really, really good, strong corn run. And I was like, yo, I miss the old L. I'm gonna write him a eulogy. And it's funny because I wanted to keep that up. But I don't know. Now that I'm a little more popular, I don't want to do like a eulogy to 50 Cent. And he starts like maduring me and talking about
I'm trying to get ahead of my my co-host here, who had something to say, because 50 just kind of really came for Diddy's neck on Twitter.
He should.
Yeah, he should. But you had a line about Mr. Combs that I think my co-host would like to ask you about. That's relevant.
Yeah, we can get to that. We can get into that.
Fuck past survivors' remorse and having fucked up. So how do you feel about that line now, following the allegations that have came out?
I mean, I knew all of that, not saying, people didn't, but, there's a lot of victim shaming that's going on in our society. And we knew he was a scumbag. We knew that, you know what I'm saying? And when I wrote the line, I didn't write it for all of those other evils. I really just wrote it for Biggie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? Because whether you had something to do with it or not, your actions led to this man passing away at 24. You know what I mean? And so you should never be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like him smiling. And I don't blame people that survive traumatic events and things of that nature, but you had something to do with it. So you should be fucked up. You should be sitting in the dark crying by yourself in a hotel room. Now, the fact that he revealed that he's a monster, you know what I'm saying? I heard that he, had Al B. Shore doing some compromising things in his office, called his assistant in on purpose to catch them like that, just because he could. So it wasn't even sexual, it was about power. I can make this man do this for a deal or whatever like that. And it's like, he was always like that. Always like that. Look at the way he moves, quits this, gets that, quits this, he's under Clive. You know what I'm saying? So when I wrote that line, I was under the Arm & Hammer clock. So like, I don't play.
You got to say some shit. Yeah.
Yeah. When they called me for an assignment, I was like, all right, I got to go for something here. And the funny thing about that verse is, to me, it's one of my shortest verses. It's only 12 bars. Most verses are like 16. And I wrote it that way because if it happened to get cut, I didn't want to give them that much bars. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to write like a
Right.
20 bar joint and it get cut. And they have a very strong editing process, and sometimes my stuff gets cut or stuff is on the bubble per se or whatever. So I remember writing it like, let me just get it short and punchy to the quick. So if they keep it, it's there and it's like a nice little uppercut, little Tyson jab. But if they don't keep it, then I didn't lose that many bars to the ethers. You know what I'm saying? But it's the line that keeps on giving. I don't even touch it anymore. Just I sell t-shirts of it. And now people hit me up for the t-shirts. Anytime Puffy does something, oh, Castro, let me get a shirt. And my girl presses them out. My girl silk prints them. I call up. I say, yo, we got another order. Puffy on some shit. We got another fucking order. But yeah, he definitely reinvigorates my my Etsy shop.
Well, I mean, the man's been smiling, making monies off corpses for 30 years now. You can make $1 off him, right? Fuck him.
Exactly.
Fuck Puff. Fuck Puff.
Here it
Fuck
is.
Puff. Survivor's remorse should keep him fucked up. Forever, ever, forever, ever. Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. That's the answer. Forever, ever? Yeah.
I mean, no one man should have all that power, especially not that man. All right, so 2012, Wu-Tang Pulp dropped, and so from what I could tell from what Pro was saying when I was talking to him on SoulSeek, this was a very difficult album to release for a lot of reasons. So can you give?
Yeah, what was don't want to crisscross smalls. What was he meaning? That was he being vague, or I could?
He was being vague. He was being vague. He was just. I was.
I
like,
mean, there was a lot of
So I don't know if it was sample clearance or if it was
a lot of cooks in the kitchen at certain points, and we also had like there was a whole nother cover than the one y'all know about.
Well, I mean, there's the comic book cover that obviously was the digital, and then there's the one that count on the CD that I have. So is there a third cover?
Yeah, so the comic book cover, the CD, the one you have is another comic book version, right? And then there was another version, originally with one of our former Wrecking Crew members, and he's not with the crew anymore. And so we changed that when we put it back up for physical sale. And so, but that process right there was hard because that was a photograph we had to take, and then we had to get somebody like to rotoscope it, and then they drew over it, and then we had somebody illustrate it, and then we had the design put behind it. So that part was difficult. There was a lot of back and forth with some of the mixes and some of the beat production. So like different producers had gotten different assignments, and some cats just went through it pretty quickly, and some cats really dragged the process out for better or for worse. You know what I mean? And
was Knowledge involved with this at all? Because I know he can be a difficult gentleman.
Who?
Knowledge?
No.
Because I remember you guys did a podcast way back in the day where you were talking with him about this.
Talking with Knowledge?
I believe so, because there was like 3 hours and you guys were mostly shitting on Capadonna.
Oh, the Capadonna episode? I don't think that was Knowledge. I think that was that might have been Scorsese. I don't know. We never had Knowledge on the show.
It was way back. Yeah, maybe I got
it.
Yeah, Knowledge definitely doesn't have a beat on there, but it was like, I just remember it was like a weird podcast link I had. It was like 3 hours long, and you were mostly talking about, like, not mostly, but there was like 20 minutes about you guys talking about Capadonna's supermodel verse, which is hilarious, by the way. But yeah,
so it might not have been a Capadonna episode that you saying we just was talking about.
No, it wasn't like Call Out Culture. It was like, I'm talking about like way back in the, like back when this was coming. It just wasn't like, it was, I just remember, I don't know, but
okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
it was again. This was back before like podcasting was a thing. So I just remember you were talking about, it was like you, Zilla, Pro, and again, I don't have this handy to talk. Like I wanted to mention this, but I looked forever to try and find where it was, and I scoured the internet. I could not find like a reference on this, and it was not Weiss either. It was not like Shots Fired with No Can either. It wasn't that. So yeah, I unfortunately do not have a name on this. It was 3 hours long. I just remember a lot of you guys talking about that fucking Capadonna supermodel verse, including Zilla rapping the super verse.
Okay, no doubt.
It was very silly. But I just remember when I was talking to Pro when like the singles were coming out on Weiss, on SoulSeek, I was like, when's this coming out? And he's like, this is very, like, I want it to come out soon, but there's a lot of problems. So
yeah, it was taking a while. Getting like I said, some producers were pulling their beats back, redoing them and stuff. It just took a while to get the final thing down. But but
I will say that intro track that's when I was honestly hooked on your music, was the pass off between you and Zilla, where you're like, now they're on to the end. It's like, Castro, what's the difference? I put the hammer down, but they won't listen. Statistics, barrel don't biscuit. That's amazing. That I was sold on your guys' music forever after that. So
nice, dope. Appreciate that.
Yep. Love that album. Like the only track I don't really like on there is the Black Arts track, which just doesn't really fit. But
with Black Arts, yeah, hell yeah, that's my boys. Crazy, yeah.
It's a different sound.
What is that a cover of? I think that's a cover of what is that cover of? Hammer Brothers? I gotta look. I can't remember. So like, all of the songs are covers.
Oh yeah, no, it's all a reference to other stuff.
Some folk, yeah.
On that point, Homeless Swordsman. So how did you decide that was the beat you were going to do the reference to Swordsman to?
Well, the beat was made, based off the original Swordsman beat from GZA,
right?
And that was Disco Vietnam, and he's a stickler. So that's actually like my third version of that song. I had to write it twice. Yeah, he's a hard ass when it comes to writing. So he's pretty direct. He gives a lot of feedback. So I wrote a couple of versions. He wasn't digging them, and then I hit this one. But he had produced it, and it's interesting because he had produced it. I think it's he plays instruments, so it's a note based like production,
right?
The original joint. He's like, and then you hear his with the and it came out nice. I wish I performed it more, but I really like that song how it came out. Even though I had to do like the Trials of Pi May with Disco Vietnam and shit, but it was worth it in there.
Yeah, what I like.
You go first, Pat. I was just going to say, obviously the concept is it's a homage to the Wu. So, like, did you get into arguments about who was going to be which Wu member on each song?
No, I think it was funny because I'm glad you asked that. We actually had specific instructions. So if I was on a song and you would like the middle verse and the original song was Deck, you have to listen to Deck's verse before you wrote yours. We had instructions to try. So if you hear some of my joints, it's not deliberate, but I do like take little pieces of the person's verse that I'm taking the place of sometimes, just to give a proper homage and things of that nature. So yeah, were tasked. Yeah, go ahead.
Who was given the instructions? Like who was the RZA in this situation?
Zilla was a pretty big orchestrator with that, because Zilla knows all that stuff pretty hard.
He's the admin guy, right?
Yeah, but no, it's just so Zilla was like, all right, we doing this joint. When you're doing this joint, this is Kappa, Ghost, and GZA. You take the GZA verse. You take that type of assignment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, most apparent on, I think, Pulp Banger, because he's definitely doing the Ghost thing, and everybody fills their own role. Like, you obviously have like the Master Killer part, which I believe that's Castle. I don't know if that's Castle on that or not. I forget. But there's like, he definitely is like working, like has everybody playing their part on that one. That's like, yeah. So, but like, what I was going to say is, I think, and I might be alone on this, I think it works even if you don't know the Wu reference points, but if you do, it's even better. So, like, clearly I own it twice, so I love the album. But
okay.
The other thing about it is, like, there's so many, like, again, I made this point earlier, is that you make a lot of references that I might not necessarily understand, but you make them sound dope, and I think that album's a testament to that. But as a Wu-Tang fan, it works doubly well. So, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
No problem. So, moving on to 2013, unless I'm missing something, we got Fidel, what you would consider your debut, since Winston,
yes.
We talked about so yeah, this I think has a lot of your best storytelling stuff on it, I would say.
Yeah, some good stories on there. I think what's on there? Winter 87 is on there.
And I think has a really dope you telling the Christmas story on it. I think really stuck with
Winter 87. Yeah, that's John.
Winter 87, Back and Forth, Fenster and McManus with Zilla are the two that really stuck.
Yeah. No, there's some good story joints on there. I'm just trying to remember.
Lady M's on there. That's a good track.
Yeah, I like that. That was that. I wrote that. That was pretty tough. Not tough, but I put a lot of effort to get that right. So what I was trying to do even further was talk about all of the Black civil rights leaders and freedom fighters that started, had their first name letter M, which is a weird coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidences. But I also wanted to show their familial connections. So if you notice in every verse, I talk about their wives or their women, and every verse I also bring up some food, like somebody cooking for somebody. I thought that would illustrate, like, these people were men, you know what I mean, and they had families. And sometimes, when you icon or you make people into idolatry and things of that nature, you forget the humanity of them. And when they get taken from us, it's like then it comes rushing back that reality that these were humans that put their lives on the line for our freedoms. So yeah, I'm really proud of that joint. So I appreciate that.
And I don't know if this is something that you thought about when you wrote the song, but it kind of reminded me of Ebony from Paris's "The Devil Made Me Do It."
Oh, you bringing up my man Paris? Yeah.
Hell yeah, I love Paris.
Yes.
Because it was the whole thing where you're talking about these figures, and obviously Paris, very hardline individual. But then that song Ebony is like the mellow song in the album, and it's kind of, I don't know. I found there was sort of that mix there of
on the new ShrapKnel record. I say the devil made me do it. Niggas in Paris. Yes, I hope somebody gets it. Yes, I put that in there. That's for the heads. That's for the heads. But yeah, I love Paris. I love Paris when I was young, and I was like, yo, who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? Public Enemy was like, the main one, but I was like, who's this guy? And so yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
I did not realize. I'm just looking at the track credits on RYM here that Cole was a Georgia Ann Muldrow beat. That's
sick. Oh, I got great stories about Georgia Ann. Yeah, hell yeah. There was a time when she was gonna produce a whole record for me and my former partner, and we were gonna go out to California with her and Declaim and stuff, and it just didn't work out that way. But we were able to buy a pack of beats from her, and when me and my partner separated, we split the beats, and so that's why I took Cole and it's Rust on Winston's. I think is another Georgia beat.
Yeah. Damn, I didn't even realize. Like I mean, it clearly sounds like her now that I think about it. But yeah, and she shows up on the new Mock album as well. So
where Georgia's on there? Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, fucking track 2 or 3, I believe. Yeah,
I'll check it out. That's dope.
Yeah, the new Mock album's sick. But yeah, I think this is. I mean, I would say that I like Tosh better, but this is some of your better, like really high level writing in terms of stories. But I think that ShrapKnel is like my favorite writing of yours, but I think Tosh is probably my favorite writing overall in terms of like solo records. Tosh is like my favorite of yours, but this is really good. Like
I know it's better than Little Robert. No, I'm just fucking.
I'm appreciating Little Robert more because I can appreciate the struggle you went through when you were.
There you go. There you have it.
One of the things that immediately stood out to me on this album, obviously, is the first track, "They Call Me Castro." Is that one that you perform live much? Like, is that like a I can
picture that used to be a staple.
Yeah.
Yes, that used to be a staple. That the good story with that joint is it was my first time rapping over Blueprint beats, and so I was really nervous. I look up to Print a lot, and so I'm glad I can call him my friend. And this was my first time working with him. So we had we got so the way Print sends you, he sends you a whole pack as a like one track of beats, and they're all like in one track, they're not separate. And so you're listening through, and me and Zilla were listening, and he had sent us 3 different long tracks of packs of beats, and we get to like the 3rd pack, and we're listening. We pick one, and I was like the best one so far, but it wasn't like the one. And no lie, I found "They Call Me Castro" beat. That's the last beat on the 3rd pack. And look, we're about to turn the beats off, and I say, I think this, and I was looking at the wave. I was like, there's a little bit more at the end. And we played that one, and that was crazy. I was like, there it is. There it is. But it was the, kismet is meant to be. And since then, me and Print have a great working relationship. We have a burgeoning friendship. Him and Logic, my Midwestern from homies. And so I'm really happy that came to fruition. And I did a decent job on it, I hope. Got a video for that too. Yeah.
Blur. You got some Blurry Drones beats on there. I believe that's Douglas from Weiss.
Yeah, it's Martin. Douglas Martin. And it's funny because I know him. I know him as Douglas Martin, but his name is Martin Douglas. Y'all know that, right?
I did not know that. I just knew his fucking pen name. So yeah,
he reversed his name, and I get sometimes I get it confused. But we knew him as Douglas Martin, but his name is Martin Douglas, and he dropped the Blurry Drones thing like after he did the first couple of Shadowboxer records. Then he stopped using that name.
Yeah, that first Shadowboxers record is really important.
Ain't it?
Incredible.
Twilight. Yeah, I fucking love that album.
Ain't that an incredible record? We're gonna repress that. I'm on his ass.
Thank God. Yo, if you do a physical of that,
no, we're gonna repress that. I want it with some banging artwork. I got him. Trust me, I got him. I'm on him.
Speaking of records that are important to me, you made an EP based on one of my very favorite movies.
Oh, Zilla will love this. Go ahead, talk it.
Brody. All bets are off.
Yeah, Zilla produced the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this has David Rodigan's one of your best songs. I fucking love that. Was that the first time you worked with Woods?
Maybe. The first time like I had him on something, and the first time we worked with Woods, Zilla produced that song for Prem called "Waiting for Godot," and Woods was on that. And I think that was the song. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. It was that or the jogging song or something. But anyway, Zilla had done a beat for Prem, and Woods was on the beat, and that was our first time like kind of having time with some of Woods stuff. Like he has this ill line about the Browns war room and drafting Josh Whedon. Is hilarious. And so then I think that might be no wait, where are we at? We're on Brody. Yeah, so we haven't reached Tosh yet with Tosh. Okay.
Tosh.
Okay.
I got a lot to say about Tosh.
Yeah, okay. So that would be the first time. Yes.
Yeah, I love David. I mean, everything, like, I just love Snack. So this was like custom made for me. I could not believe I bought both this and the instrumentals today because I cannot believe I did not own this already. And it's fucking awesome front to back. I also can't believe that Zilla did not release a beat tape until like a proper beat tape until like 2 or 3 years ago because
he was burnt out because he produced for his first big rap contingent. He was like a main producer. So by the time it got around to us, he would produce very specifically, and he didn't even start making the beat tapes, Anything I Can Bruise, until a little after. But again, remember, we're on the new ideal of catalog releases. You know what I'm saying? So we're starting to get into that. Yep.
But yeah, this is just really creative, really clever. I think it's what I like about this is I remember when American Gangster came out and everybody was so impressed with Jay-Z writing about like vague fan fiction about
right. Like wait, an excuse to redo songs I already did. That's
right, exactly. Like, this is a version of this song that y'all have 5 years.
Well, mind you, Blue Magic is dope, but like you have like 6 of those already. But it was definitely like, dang, I don't know what to write about my old age yet. Yo, let me just go. Let's take it way back. Well, you already did that, Jay. What are you gonna do? Oh, you seen that American Gangster movie? Oh, call Denzel. Yo, call Farquhar. I think that's who did the movie. He's like, yeah, oh yeah, boom, boom. All right, so I'll be the character. But you already did a reasonable time. Nah, it ain't nobody gonna matter. Let's call him up. We could do the. There it is. All he did, and I like it, but he did use it as a way to. You know what it's like? It's like American Gangster is like The Force Awakens, which is almost scene by scene shot of the New Hope. It's pretty much, same thing, kind of same ways. They go through it. They do the same stuff. The 3 of them get together. So to me, that's what it is. Boom.
You actually wrote an EP about a movie that actually relates to the film. It isn't just like vague.
Yeah, no, I was on it. I was trying to make sure that people knew about Bullet Tooth Tony and you know what I'm saying, the Klitschkovs and things.
Yeah, there's this one I would say is different than, like I said, Wu-Tang Pulp. That works if you don't know the I feel like this, you kind of have to know Snatch to appreciate this. But if you know Snatch, this fucking rules. And I've seen Snatch double-digit amounts of times, so I love this. And if you haven't seen Snatch, you can't listen to the podcast. So turn this off.
Don't alienate any listeners. Don't listen to them. This is what it means is go watch Snatched. And actually, there's some really
turn this off. Go spend an hour.
There's some really good new Guy Ritchie stuff. The Gentleman is really good, and the series he did a Gentleman series too, right?
Yeah. No, I got that in the queue. That's. I
didn't watch either one. But I heard both are pretty good. And he did. And there's something else he did.
Carlo Esposito in it, right? Yeah.
Yes, and then he did something else a little while ago. Something called the Mechanic or something. I can't remember. Don't quote me. Zilla knows about it. But we're big on Guy Ritchie over at Wrecking Crew Central, and so
I'm a first 2 Guy Ritchies can't be touched, and then he kind of lost the plot for a bit. But yeah, I'm mostly pro Guy. When
he did that King Arthur, right? He tried that, right?
Yeah,
Sherlock Holmes.
No, Sherlock Holmes is fine, but then he do like a King Arthur with his style, with the slow and sped. It didn't work
I'm just saying.
I
he didn't work.
do not recall that. That
Yeah, he
doesn't
missed the
sound-
mark on that. You missed that one. You just skip that one, Pat. He
All right,
missed the mark on that one. But yeah, but now he's on his comeback. That's why all these things are so much better because he's on his comeback.
But yeah, my favorite on here is by far David Rodigan. But I really like how you like lay out the plot in the last two. The way you do the sing-song flow and Daisy Swallowed a Diamond is fucking cool.
Yeah, that's a De La flow. That's Millie pulled a pistol on Santa.
Holy shit, you're right. I didn't even fucking realize where I knew that from.
Yeah, that's the flow. Yeah, and also a little homage to rest in peace, Gift of Gab and Black Alicious. It's he does those styles. He did Don't Let Money Change You, and he did that. Yeah, and he did that on another song on the later record. So yeah, so it's a big ups to both of them.
And yeah, just touch real quick. You did the Instrumentals and Chips companion piece to this. Has two really cool remixes of David Rodigan with some different MCs on it.
Yeah,
so,
Castle. Well, no, Castle's on a remix, but then yeah, we have Rodigan with NASA and Lamont Manuel.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to kind of touch on, I guess, over the course of this, how you work with different producers and engineers, like, I guess, NASA, Willie Green. Is there any difference in your process when you work with different engineers?
With different engineers or different producers?
Versus Green, yeah, like, and does that affect like?
No, I mean, I will say, like, Green has a certain way he mixes my vocals, as does Dove. And also, if you go in the archive, Zilla has this whole memorization of my presets, so that might be a different and our live is a little more collaborative because we'll sit down and we'll process my vocals. With Green, I let him take the wheel. Sometimes he has really great ideas in terms of like what he runs vocals through and things of that nature, so I'll let him do that. With Dove, I'm a little more direct. I kind of know how I want my vocal to sound, and so we'll go in that direction. And with iLive, it's more collaborative and shit. And then with Z, it's like the presets. So me personally, my process doesn't necessarily change, but my intention might, because I'll go in there knowing what I want and how I want it to sound. And in Green's case, he'll probably have an idea before I do.
Yeah, it just seemed like Dove has been more of a part of more of a assertive part of the collective lately with Backwoodz, and I know Green obviously has been around forever. So
they the hubs, they the nervous system, man. Like Green is the muscle, you know what I'm saying? He definitely has his hands on all projects at some point, whether he mixes and masters them or just masters them. You got to let the mastermind touch the I mean, what Green does to records is amazing. Like Green is is my godson in a sense. When I was younger, you would listen to stuff, you would make demos, right? And you had like primitive like programs, Cool Edit Pro, whatever, Fruity Loops or whatever you may have when you first started, and just a basic PC with a fat ass and a big ass hard drive you had to carry around. And I remember there was always, you listen to songs you would do, right? When you go home. That was a big thing with me. Once you record, listening to demos on the walk home. And then you listen to the radio. So this is in the 2000s, radio still cracking. You're like, man, I want my songs to sound like that. Like when Outkast would come on, I want my songs to sound like that. When Blueprint would come on, his stuff was so crisp and clean. You want your stuff to sound like that. And there was always a blockage because of the equipment I was working with and the technicians I was working with. They just had a certain ceiling. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get your stuff sounding a certain way. And also, you didn't know how important an engineer was when you first started out. You just want to record vocals. And so when I get with Green really knows how to bring a track alive. Like when you give Green something and you get it back, you feel this warm sense of accomplishment. Like, oh, this is a song, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no little demo coming out of a music box somebody's turning on the corner. This is a song you can play on speakers on somebody's rattling system. And so once you realize how important that is, sound and the finished sound, then you take it a lot more seriously. And so you make sure, pay your friends. Green is not cheap. Don't look to me for no discount. Green is not cheap. He costs the money and he's worth every fucking penny.
All right. Well, moving on to 2015. This one, I would say, just based upon our meaningless ass website that this podcast is based on, is an overlooked project because only 8 people rated it, including myself. Restroy and Debuild with you and Fakts, who have you not done too much more work with Fakts? I don't see him in too many more of your credits, or am I incorrect on that?
That was a blessing. I was a big fan of Perceptionist and Miss Lift in particular. Everybody knows that. And just the opportunity to work with Fakts was like a blessing. We had hit each other. We got familiar with each other online. I think first through Instagram.
and then we got cool on Twitter, and he was still active. And so we did a couple of little songs and demos first. And I was like, I want to keep this going. And I asked him for a pack, and I didn't think he was going to say yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I? You work with Mr. Lift. You're on Def Jux and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, you work with Acrobatic. I'm just Curly Castro. Who the fuck am I? And he sent me a pack, and he was more than willing to work. And I was like, oh shit. And then he was able to do scratches on the record. I really like that project because that project shows my the genesis of my relationship with Tomorrow Kings in Chicago. And as I was writing, and as I was writing this project, I had gotten stuck and just stuck creatively. And I was like, man, how am I finish all these songs? And then there was a Yule Prague show. I know y'all have heard of Yule Prague if you listen to podcasts before. It's a Backwoodz, Reservoir Sound, Uncommon Records collaboration. They used to do a show every holiday around Yuletide. It was called Yule Prague. And Tomorrow Kings was there one time, and I was blown away. It was only like maybe 4 of them out of the 8 at the time, but they were just such an ill, abstract reflection of style to anything else. And as I met them and I saw them on stage, I looked at Zilla. I said, "That's how I'm finishing the project." He's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I called them all up and got them all like they're on 2 songs a piece. All of them, they filled out the rest of that project, and so I owe them. I salute to them because without them I would not have finished that project. And so I just made it. What I was doing was trying to make an ode to posse cuts. So I was like, if I'm gonna have all these ill cats on there, I'm gonna go back to what real posse cuts are, like the joints that's on Sound Bombing. You know what I'm saying? The joints that used to be on the back of albums with everybody on it, or when busting them on the front of albums. You remember Def Squad versus Hit Squad? That was a big ass song, like right in the middle. And I was like, yo, people, because posse cuts changed. Like you didn't get John Blaze. John Blaze had everybody on there. You got business relationships, and people would jump on songs. And then also the BT Cypher came about. And I felt like that infiltrated posse cuts because then people started seeing the BT ciphers, which are just written performance collaborations. But I felt like people weren't doing like really good posse cuts. And then Khaled came. And then Khaled's version of the posse cut, we're #1, is him all screaming, you know, all over and all this shit. And it was fun for a little while. Another one was really fun, but then like it's too much Ace Hood. Nah, you're killing me with the Ace Hood, Khaled. And so with Restroy and Debuild, I wanted to destroy and rebuild, and I flipped it, Restroy and Debuild, people's idea of the posse cut. And so that's why I went back to that. And so that's why almost all the songs are posse cuts. It's like 2 or 3 solos on there. Emmett Still, which I'm really proud of. I'm glad I made that record. I wish it wasn't on this project because I wish it wasn't buried with all the posse cuts. I feel like people kind of missed it. Like I tried to make it a single. If you look it up, there's a single artwork out there for it and everything. And I wish it got more traction because I'm pretty proud of that record. Shout out my man Margell. But yeah, so I was just trying out things, and big ups to Tomorrow Kings. They helped me finish that project.
Yeah, I really like the sketch stuff on here, particularly. I mean, I always love your sketch. He's fucking awesome. And it's funny you said that about the posse cuts because I was thinking actually about the one track on Winston's that's like 15 people on it. And I'm like, this is like
you and who's on
the fucking rolling what deep cuts that K-Slay was doing, rest in peace, but actually organic and good as opposed to just like clicking.
It's more like I would compare You and Who's Army to what's that, One Train by ASAP.
Oh yeah, right, yeah,
like that.
That's a good comparison too. Like
and it was a challenge of mine because I was just like determined back then for that. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get everybody I know to rapping, and I had a way big rapper black book back then than I do now. No, that's not true. But I was more organically connected to people in Philly back then. So I could call a lot of people and get them a verse. Now I can call all over the country. So that's better. You know what I'm saying? But now back then it was all Philly based. And I was just challenging myself. I'm putting everybody on this track. And they didn't know. And I was like, give me 8 bars. Give me 8 bars. And they would come over and record, and people record in the middle of the night. And I was like, let's put this together. And that's when I was working with my man, Larry Guevara. And he helped me put that together. Big ups to him. He had a company called Daku. Yep.
Well, what really worked about that was it felt like everybody, I mean, I'm sure they weren't, obviously they weren't, but it felt like everybody was in the room just kind of picking up the mic versus like the, obviously rolling whatever deep songs and the Khaled songs.
Right, everybody's mailing them in. But I think I gave people some previews of some verses because you see like Zilla built off a verse. So some people were able to hear things that were there and able to jump on it. But most people got the assignment and they took it really seriously. So salutes to them.
But yeah, I think this is again, like, this is an outlier in your catalog because it's like your posse album. It's like your Rolodex album almost. Because
it's my Rock La Familia. People like, yo, it's funny because we have friends that really like love that as a Jay-Z album, and I'm like, yo, it's a Rockefeller album, but so be it. All right, you want to cheat? I'll cheat too.
It's a label sampler, and we all love the intro, right?
Yes, and we love 1-800-Hustler. So like, it's all good.
All right. So 2018, we're moving
on. Hold on. I want to ask a question about
that. Yes, sir.
Generator Operated Destroyer. How long did it take for you to write that verse before the the G's and the O's and the D's?
Oh, you caught it. Oh, thank you so much.
Right. Got me.
So obviously I'm also a big fan of A$AP Rock. And I love the Greatest Pac-Man Victory ever. And that has LSD on it when he's going crazy with the LSD pattern. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna do that. And I was so determined at some point to do that. And I got with Gilead on the song, and I said, I'm gonna do this G.O.D. thing. G.O.D. was a group. I was very much into the spoken word and poetry scene, and they were a group of hip-hop artists and poets. And their name was Generator Operated Destroyer. But everybody called them G.O.D. And that's what it stood for. And so I was like, boom, I'm gonna call it G.O.D. I even do I say it in that rhyme? No, I shout him out on something else. No, wait, do I say it? No, I don't know. And so I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do G.O.D. with everything. And I think I cheat like 3 times with those prepositional phrases, but I think I'm pretty steadfast. I hold to it. And I'm really proud. Thank you, sir. I'm so happy that you picked that because nobody even caught that. And so work is worth it. Yes, there it is.
Did you try to convince? Sorry, what's the how do you say his name? Gilead 7.
Gilead 7.
Try to convince him to do the same thing, or
no? Gilead is an alien, so I just had him. I think I told him what to write. I think he was trying to write about God or something like that. But yeah, I was doing my thing, and I just say, "Oh, Gilead, you got it." And again, this is Tomorrow King, so he's on like 2 or 3 songs. So I'm like, "Yo, do your thing." But yeah, I was determined to try to get my LSD off, and so that's my one attempt. So I hope I did all right.
Nice. Yeah. So Tomorrow Kings, like to me, that I kind of look at them as like the next version of Rubber Room a little bit.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good call. Yes,
because it's like the kind of more like futuristic sound, both from
they got a new record coming too. They got a new record coming too. Yeah, so check that out when it drops.
Nice.
I'm on that piece too. Yeah.
I mean, if you like rapping, you've got Alaska and Def C on one track, and the next track you have Lucid and Sketch on the same track. So
right, you know what I mean? I'm giving it to you raw. Shit.
Is that your first collab with Def C?
That is my first collab with Def. Yeah. That is my first collab with Alaska, and I'm such a fan of Alaska. He doesn't even he knows because I say it to him, but he's my friend, so he doesn't like take me seriously. But like I used to love Hangar Team. Like so much. Their styles was so crazy on their first record. I was like, God damn, like people rap like this, like seriously. And so when I got cool with him, I always, he's always self-deprecating. He is. And so sometimes he doesn't like talk about his old shit. And I'm like, man, I love everything you did. He's like, whatever, yo. And I'm like, yeah. So yeah, this is good call. These are my first times collaborating with a bunch of them. That's my first Def C collab, and this is my first Alaska collab. Yep.
Did the Def C collab come through Tomorrow Kings as well? Because they're connected, eh?
Let me see. I think so, because I was just hitting everybody up from there. But he wasn't like, it's funny because he's not even on their first record. He just talks at the end.
Yeah, at the very end, he says fuck it.
At the very end. And I think I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I just knew I peeped his raps, and I wanted him on that joint with him. It's him, Zilla, and Alaska. And I was like, yeah, I want him on there. But yeah, definitely it was me dipping into my Chicago bag. But he's not a TK actual member. So yeah, I had to get out of him separate.
Nice. Cool. Well, that's why I wanted to ask Pat, so we can move along if you want, but
yeah, I mean, it's just a really, like, I think that's probably I think Fidel and the one we're going to talk about next and the album that occasioned this podcast because I offended you are your best fucking like storytelling records. I think this is probably I think that's a really good example of you just rapping your ass off because you had something to prove.
No doubt. No doubt.
But yeah, moving on, I think in terms of just having a sound that's unique to very, very few rap albums, this one, Tosh, Very, very few rap albums fuse dub and reggae like this one. Like in terms of production, you fucking knocked this one out of the park in terms of like what you picked on this. And looking at the producers, I don't think you repeat a producer on here. Like Zilla shows up. Zilla shows up twice, maybe 3 times. Yeah, Zilla shows up 3 times, which is impressive because I don't really recall him flipping reggae like that elsewhere.
Yeah, no, like so all the producers had specific instructions. So that's the one. This
so you did what Zilla did to you on Wu-Tang Pulp, and you're like, nah, do it this way.
Yeah, I told everybody to I want y'all to produce with dub in mind. They all had different iterations of that, but they all had the assignment before they submitted beats. So I told them that before I picked the beat of theirs. So what happened was either they submitted beats with that in mind, like Messiah Music did, or they made beats from scratch with that in mind, like Uncamanasa. So like it was, but they were all very strict, directed to, I want this to be a dub record. So whatever your opinion of dub or reggae, or even go back to Lovers Rock, that's what I want. And so like Blueprint did all that. So that's why all the beats are unison in that way. Zilla did his version too. Yeah,
I have a question for one specific listener, and you might not have an answer for this, but what's the sample on Babel?
On Babel? Oh man, you'd have to ask Zilla that.
It's
and it's funny. There's a remix of Babel too.
He's a big reggae listener, and that's very obvious.
I think we remixed Babel. Who did it? I think Zilla did it. We have a remix of that on a deluxe. Yeah, I did. So Tosh, I had a Switzerland company called Buenaventura Records. They repressed it. They're the ones that actually did the vinyl. Backwoodz didn't do it.
That's by far my favorite. Like that and the Woods feature are my favorite things on here, and 2 of my favorite songs you've done. That like Everybody Killed Babel. That's just like fucking awesome. And Woods is so funny on It's How You Can Eat. Like that's
How You Can Eat, yo. Yeah. I like that song.
I think you find so many different perspectives on this album. It's just so creative. I can't find enough good things to say about it. Aside from the ShrapKnel stuff, this is my favorite thing you've done.
Appreciate that. I got Grandma's Fable on there. Yeah, I got.
That's a beautiful song. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes Zilla's wife cry. So I knew I had one. He's like, my wife always cries when she is. I was like, yes.
I like Snowball and Napoleon because I think that fucking that Orwell shit has been so co-opted by people who don't know what George Orwell is about that you like reclaim it for people who actually read George Orwell. So shout out to
and I love Animal Farm, so it was big for me to put that in there. There's a video for Snowball and Napoleon in a sense. If you look up, there's a Tosh sampler, and one of and we cover like 4 songs, and one of the songs is Snowball and Napoleon. And it's funny because I dress up like a teacher and we have kids in it and stuff. So I'm giving a lesson because I use that flow. Y'all didn't see that? Y'all didn't see that video?
No. Like,
oh yeah, this Tosh sampler, SAMPLA. And when you watch that, a couple of songs from Tasha, and it's like a medley.
I will.
It's one of my best videos. Shout out Pat. Yeah, it's one of my best videos.
Yeah, and your flow on Winston Wolfe is amazing. That's a great way to end the album. I have nothing. I mean, I'm not going to say bad shit to you about most of your stuff to your face. I'll wait.
No, I want to stop it. I want to hear everything. Stop it. Let's get into it.
I think that one of the really impressive things about your solo albums is that you take a concept and really flesh it out. Even like if something like Winston's Appeal is a little maybe scattered compared to the later stuff, it's still like a concept that you follow through on. And I think this is the best example of you just taking something and exploring it from all angles and finding the producers that can really just find a way to express that. And like you said, you gave very specific instructions, and that's obvious. So, and then you
get like a well, you go first. Sorry.
I was going to say.
I was just going to say you get like an elucid beat where it's more like starts things on a more industrial tip. So it was cool that it kind of.
That was tough. That was tough. Gutter never makes it easy on you when he's fucking giving you beats and shit like that. I'm like, send me a beat. And he's like, I hear it. And I'm like, God, damn, it sounds ill, but what am I supposed to do? So I deliberately had to take there's like little pauses I take. That I don't write like that. So like I wrote that because the beat told me to do that. Like the pause made it a little better. Like I was, if I was rapping without the pause, I would feel anxiety. I was like, the beat's like coming to get me and shit. But no, I love it. And,
I think that's the best example. I think that's the best description of like writing to an elusive beat I've ever heard.
The beat's coming to get you, yo. It's like when I was younger, that Halloween theme,
if my dad wanted to get me to do something, he used to just play it on both TVs and shit. So it'd be in the front of his mom's apartment in the back, and I'd be stuck in the hallway like frozen. He's like, "You better go vacuum that," and I would go. That used to scare me. So like Elucid's beats on the hunt for you, and you running in the forest. You got mud all on you, and it's getting closer. It's getting closer. You better rap to that, bitch. Fuck you doing?
Yeah, Elucid's beats like Predator. They have the
the infrared. They're looking for you and shit. They're hunting for you and stuff.
Well, the reason I wanted to, like, honestly, I kept thinking about asking you about your process or writing process or whatever. Yeah. I remember, I think Arm & Hammer were on Call Out Culture, and it was like Woods would like be fine talking about his writing process, and apparently Elucid was like, yeah, he locks himself in a room. He doesn't
it's the other way around. Elucid goes away. He goes into a room.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Elucid goes away. Yeah, yes, like Woods is fine, but yeah, Elucid goes away. Yeah. And if I recall correctly, it was like Elucid's the one who doesn't want his shit like written, like he's the one who has a problem with lyric sheets, right?
No, he doesn't want his stuff transcribed. He wants you to figure it out. He's
correct.
And Gut has been like that since 2011.
Yeah, that's why it was a big deal that Haram had the lyric sheet, right?
Yeah. So look, Woods will twist his arm sometimes when it comes to like a product that they, like a popular product, but Elucid he's very staunch. He has his commandments and he sticks by them. And he never wanted his stuff transcribed. He doesn't like lyric books and lyric sheets. And it's funny because what Elucid is getting at, even if you had his stuff written down, it still doesn't really help you. You got to be in the moment to get some of Gut's stuff, because I feel like people apply so much complexity to it, they're missing the simple beauty of it. If he says 2 words and there's a comma, that's what he means. And the next phrase is what he means. It's not he's weaving together churches and like he knows what he's doing. My man, he could rap any fucking way. If you listen to his old stuff, he used to rap like fucking Immortal Technique and shit like that. He used to rap like that, no problem. But I always, but yeah, Gut is very, very, very staunch about his religion, his art.
I told Bessie, the physical of that has a quote unquote lyrics book. And you know what the lyric is written in there? I believe in black people.
Oh, that's it? Yes. That's
all you need to know.
I have mine. I didn't open it like that. Yes. I love that, man. He's perfect. Yes. That's what's up.
So I love this album. I love what you did on it. I think the production's incredibly cohesive. I think the sound is great. I love the mingling of storytelling and just the
and there's some true stories on it. I always like to point that out because I know people write things. Grandma's Fable is true. Night Terror Fabulous. That's true story. That really happened. Yeah, things like that. Nice. Yes, sir.
Listening to this, it kind of reminded me of Paradoxical State, Justina. Was he an influence in this by any chance? Like for the whole mixing of dub and hip hop in a kind of futuristic way, or is that more kind of coincidence?
Paradoxical States by Justin
Dark City. Yeah. Was he an influence in this by any chance, or?
No, not directly. I think he's dope.
Okay.
And I love Old Adams, but no, not directly. But yeah, he's dope. He's dope.
Just curious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a lawyer. He's Esquire now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. He has the initials, boy. Shit.
He's got that Rittenhouse Row shit.
Yeah, but man. Get you out of jam.
All right, so we can touch on. I did not listen to this in my homework, unfortunately. The Grift Company EP. I've heard it in the past, obviously, but
either one. There's 2. You didn't listen to the record or the EP?
I did not listen to either in my homework, but I've heard them both in the past.
Cool.
Yeah, there was the album as well, but both of them, the ones you did with Zilla, Grift Company. So, yeah, you can give some memories from the sessions, I suppose. This was who produced these? This was Zilla produced them, yeah.
Yeah,
Ray West. Wait, no, Ray West produced this shit, right?
Not the whole thing. So on the first Grift Company, Zilla, I think, did most of the beats. And in the second one, we got like Griff on there. There's a couple of producers on there. I don't have it in front of me. So like, Grift Company is me and Zilla doing our Thug Thizzle. We're very much in sync with our influences. We write differently, but we'll touch on the same influences. So that's why we can make a song like Fence and McManus, because we know Usual Suspects back and forth. And it's very good to write with Zilla. It's very easy. It's very natural. And so when we want to, we could always just buckle down and do something. And so when we did the second Grift Company, that's why I want you to check it. So there's a movie called Sneakers
starring Sidney Poitier and
Oh,
Robert
Redford, right?
Yes, Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier. And that's pretty much what the aesthetic and the whole C-Tech technology and No More Secrets thing comes from. Because in the movie, they talk about No More Secrets and they're trying to bring down this company called C-Tech Astronomy. So that's what you like concepts, Pat. So I think if you look, glance at the movie Sneakers or just watch a little quick synopsis and then check out No More Secrets by Grift Company. And I think you'll enjoy it.
I've heard both. I did not make the Sneakers connection. That makes me feel very silly. But yeah, I got the Philly crime references.
That's all The Wire. Yeah, we on The Wire, but we were gonna make an Omar song. Let me tell you about that.
I did.
Yeah.
So you did the 3 singles, and then it came out as the major crime.
Yeah. So
there was a plan for a whole thing
there? So yeah, so we did Bunk, we did McNulty, and then we did Clay Davis. And then there's a Amsterdam song, as you could tell when you get to the EP. And those are made like to flesh it out. But there was a plan to do like a Kima song, and it was going to be Omar. That's the Omar song I regret we didn't do. So the Omar song, I had an idea of Smalls producing it, but it was going to be a bunch of beats. And so we rap for a little bit, and then Omar comes on the block and robs the beat. And then then another beat starts.
Oh, wow.
And then Omar's coming, he does a whistle, and he robs the beat. And then another beat starts. So that's the one I did. We didn't actually execute that I wish we did for that. But yeah, Major Crimes is just our effort to pull together all those good ideas. And those were a lot of performance staples. Zilla did McNulty in his set for like a good 2-3 years. I did Bunk a lot. And the funny thing, here's the irony of it. I wrote Bunk and did Bunk, and I was not into The Wire yet. They told me about the character. And he gave me a sample, and I just wrote that. So if you listen to the song ain't about The Wire; it's about Smalls.
Yeah, but McNulty, that's total like.
Yeah, he's totally into the minutia. He makes a lot of references. It's a great song by Zilla. It's one of his greatest songs, I think. He performs. There's some good live footage of McNulty. If you type in McNulty, you'll see. If you type in McNulty and you see us wearing like gun holsters and fedoras. Watch that one. That's when we used to do shadow box.
I love Clay Davis. I love Clay Davis too. That's on a Zilla EP. Like, yeah, like
Clay Davis.
Yeah.
Clay, Zilla wrote that hook. Yeah, it's tight.
So yeah, I was always that was one of the things I came into this wanting to ask you was that going to be a whole project? I'm sad we didn't get especially the Omar one. That sounds hilarious, but so
yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of like you guys as the Major Crimes Unit and Small Pro as Lester behind the scenes.
He did the Lester beat. Yeah, so it's tight.
All right, so we can move on at this point to are we in ShrapKnel now, or do we want as Bluue Edwards prior to ShrapKnel?
Bluue Edwards actually came out the same year as ShrapKnel. They came out afterwards.
Well, Cobalt was 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
But in terms of like, I thought you meant the ShrapKnel LP. But yeah, Cobalt came out. So Bluue Edwards came out after.
I guess my question first is, how did you decide to link up with Prem versus just like working with, like, to do a group effort with Prem?
So we tell this story a lot. ShrapKnel is the best idea we never had. So like I'd feature on his projects, he featured on mine, as y'all know, and we started doing support work for each other. Like when we do performances, we started going on the road with each other, and I'll back him up, he'd back me up, and so we had a natural chemistry, mainly based off physical performance, live performance, and so what ended up happening is, so we met during a battle. We both played second, so the battle wasn't like the actual head-to-head battle. It was like a more like a obstacle course battle. You had there was a wheel. It was weird. And so that's how we met. And so we started working with each other and stuff. And like, we would do a lot of live shows together and back each other up. And so what ended up happening is, I featured on his stuff, he featured on mine. And he had a pack of Elucid beats, and I had a pack of Elucid beats. And we both kind of hit a little wall in how we were working on the beats. And we said, let's just do a split tape. I'll do one side, you do the other side. And then I heard his beats, and I was like, I like some of his beats. I want one of those. And he heard mine, and vice versa. And so we said, let's just make a whole project together. And then that's when we kind of came up with ShrapKnel. But when I say it's the best idea we never had, because when we started telling people like, I'm gonna do a whole project with Prem, it's like, that's a great idea. Da, da, da. And it was like, of course it's a great idea. It's right in front of us. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't see it. And so it was something that just came about naturally that we didn't at first notice, but it just was very organic. And then,
I mean, I would say that the first ShrapKnel EP kind of sounds like you guys feeling each other out a little bit, the wrestling feeling out process type thing, and then you guys are really writing with each other when it comes to the LP. Like you're just kind of rapping together, and it's great. Like I love Dagger and like the hook on that and everything. It just feels more just like rapping together versus songwriting on the LP.
Yeah, a little bit. We're trying to just getting our feet wet, like, but we have like good joints on there, like Seance. I like a lot, and Hubris. Without there's more Chicago. We got Gyroscope on there, Sketches on there. So we go into our Chicago bag at first. So if all fails, hit up a Chicago MC, yo.
There it is.
I mean, I don't want to disregard Cobalt. I think all the ShrapKnel stuff is great, but I feel like it's definitely you guys feeling out what you can do together versus actually fully realizing it, which you would do on the next two. So 3 if you count the remixes.
Indeed.
But yeah, so we can move on to Bluue and which one do you want to approach first, either Bluue or ShrapKnel?
It's up to y'all, whatever, because I think we're talking ShrapKnel.
We're talking ShrapKnel. We'll start with
ShrapKnel came first. ShrapKnel came first that year.
We'll start with the ShrapKnel. This is fucking awesome. I got 0 bad words to say about it. I think that I love the hook on Aaron McKee. First of all, that's very funny. That's very funny.
That's dope. Yeah, that's dope. I mean, yeah, we had to dedicate something to brother Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was no room for Eric Snow on this one. But one thing I wanted to ask was with the so you had Flechette after this. Was there any consideration given to what you picked to remix, or was that just like you threw the pack to the producers and they chose what they wanted?
Well, no, we had all right, so no questions about ShrapKnel the first one?
No. I mean,
no, we can go back.
Questions about it.
We'll go back. Okay. So Flechette was born out of, we had 2 remixes at first. We had the Cavalier Appearance and we had a Blue by Smalls. And then we had the Blueprint remix. And so that's all we kind of had. And so we was trying to figure out, working with Woods, like, well, how do we want to release these? Just like singles, by themselves. And Woods was like, yo, let's call on some of the superheroes and let's get some more remixes done. And then let's make like a full project. And even Woods named it. We didn't name it. He named it Flechette. And so that's when he got us with Kenny Siegel. And so we got that banger remix from him. And then we reached out to Jeff Markey and Analog Tape Dispenser and Willie Green. And so then we fleshed it out. And then we released it. But at first it was just 2.
Well, I was working backwards because I was like, was there ever a thought of working with other producers other than Elucid?
Yeah, that came afterwards. Yeah, that came.
So I mean, was it always just working with Elucid for most of this project, or were you going to work with or was there ever a thought of working with other producers on the original?
Well, the original was like, at first it was all Elucid, but then we wanted to flesh it out with a different sound. So we actually, if you notice, there's the alternate takes on Flechette.
Right.
So at first, those are August for 9. So at first, those songs were on the original ShrapKnel LP, but we pushed them over, and then we got green versions, and so we put those on the LP, and then we just put the August for 9 joints on the remix EP.
I guess that's where my whole thing about you guys kind of being comfortable with Arm & Hammer came from, is because the Fanon stuff, like.
Yeah. And I work with August too. If you notice, he's on, I got a bunch of his production at times. Yeah, me and August is real cool. He that's another genius. He gives you an avalanche of beats. Like literally, it's an avalanche. It's so many beats, but they're all good. That's the problem. It's a great problem to have. They're all good.
And what he's given you is different than what he gives Arm & Hammer. I wasn't trying to be reductive there. I apologize.
Yeah, no, indeed. No, didn't take that.
But yeah, I was trying to work backwards there and talking about how your production process worked. I apologize if that came across like I didn't have anything to say about the.
No, I was hoping you said you got nothing bad to say about it, so now let's not talk about it, dog. You know what I mean?
I have nothing bad to say about it, so I have nothing to say about it. I also thought it was just thought Val. I know you.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, you've just explained to us earlier about the idea of Elucid's beats coming to get you. So, what was it like doing that for almost an entire album? Was it like,
well, this one was different. You could. Yeah, well, no, this one was different. It wasn't like, he was just in his bag. If you notice, like he gives a great pastiche, different things like Tempest was just that loop. You know what I'm saying? And we had to figure out a rap over that. And Bassett, like he was giving us a full gamut of stuff. The 86 to 96 probably. Here's the interesting thing I'll give y'all about that is the first beat. That's what we all rap to. That second beat switch for Prim, Lucid left that in the file. And when Green got it, he said, "You want to put this beat switch in there?" We was like, "What beat switch?" Now, I don't know if Lucid put that on purpose or he just left it at the end of the beat, but it was in there. And he's like, "This." I was like, "Oh, fucking shit." Yeah, so like a lot of things came about with Green's mysticism and mastery and stuff. And I really liked how that all came out. And he just gave us, there's a lot of different beats on there. You know what I'm saying? So big ups. And then Ghostface Targaryen. That was the one that set it off to me because Prim had that one first. And so when I heard him have that with his pack, I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be on that, or I'm gonna take that, or for our shit, something." And so it was cool.
Is that the one with the line "hang you upside down, scream Phoenix in your earlobe"? Is it that one?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess like a wider discussion regarding your writing process as the referential aspect, where you'll reference well known or not even deep cut lyrics from other rap songs. So, how important do you think that is to just, I suppose, being an MC in general? Kind of paying homage in that way.
Yeah, well, we come from the grand tradition of oral tradition. You know what I mean? Oral traditions. They are the fabric of our existence before there was written word. So I always feel like it's important to grab a little line from something that's memorable, and then people hear it like, "Oh, that sounds familiar." Then maybe they'll go back and check the song out or referencing somebody. I'm very referential. I don't mean to be. I hope I'm not the game. So if I come off as the game, let me know and I'll tone it down. But no, I just like to bring people to those moments that I feel when I bring up those references or those movie scenes or those when I say those rap lines. I want you to start thinking about, when did you open AT Aliens and look at the liner notes? You know what I'm saying? Not just me taking a little bit from Andre. I want you to think about the record and shit like that. So yeah, I tend to be referential, but it definitely in reverence. And I'm trying to just pay great homage to the things that built me up as a hip hop individual, And so it's important to me. Yep.
It's very interesting that you mentioned the game, because I think there's that game song where he just kind of, it's on a documentary where he just literally recites names of famous rap albums and calls it a hook. And he just does that to remind you of, it's Troy McClure on The Simpsons. Hey, you might remember me from these certain like this. Whereas I think that you will kind of give context to things and then just extrapolate upon it. There's a difference. Like, you actually flesh things out versus just giving people like, "Hey, remember this?"
Indeed.
So that's a big difference there. Like, there's a difference between making references for the sake of making references and actually like giving context, for lack of a better way to put it. So
I appreciate that. Thank you, because I don't want to be the game.
No one wants the game. Don't be.
And I was looking back at my verse. I was like,
life.
"Damn, all I'm doing is referencing. The whole verse is like a million references." And I'm like, as people keeping up with me, I'm like 6 references deep. I'm in the second bar. But that's the style. That's, y'all listen to my older stuff. You've seen it come to fruition. This is the style. This is how my blades.
I mean, there's a difference between, like, Billy Woods makes tons of references too.
He does. But his come with a so you better get that. His like Cliff Notes. You ever see Cliff Notes and you never want to look them up? Like, oh,
Billy Woods is like fucking infinite jest. You need like to go like end notes for his shit. Like,
but it's funny because it's funny. Woods is I mean, obviously he's the greatest writer of our generation, by far. So it's dope. It's dope keeping up with these cats.
Don't tell him that I called him Billy on the podcast, by the way.
I won't. I won't. He'll remind you though. He will remind you. Call me Woods. Call me Woods. Oh, that's my guy.
Yeah, this I feel like that's a very important distinction to make, though. You can reference other things, but don't just let them be references for the sake of references. There has to be context.
Right. It's the same as like if you're ever around famous or not famous people. If you're ever around people that know famous people, do you ever notice that they really weave these famous people into all of their conversations, no matter what you're talking about? You be talking about volcanoes, and they be like, "Yeah, I know Alan Alda." What?
It's a recurring
Okay,
joke.
all right.
There's this Bret Easton Ellis novel called Glamorama, where there'll just be like fucking paragraphs where people are just naming other names of famous people.
Okay, yeah, I know people do that like at parties, and sometimes you want to be impressive, and I get it, you know what I'm saying. But sometimes if you say it naturally, then I won't think you're being like a schmuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know them, and you don't. Like, all right, call them up right now, get us tickets. Like, don't drop a name. Get some tickets. Let's get some box seats. You know what I'm saying?
Got Alan Alda on speed dial. Let's go. Let's
you know what I'm saying? Invite me to a recorded session. Let me get to a TV studio. That's what I'm looking for. Let me get a jingle. Say, invite me to a TV show so I can get a jingle and retire for real. Shit.
You know Jerry Seinfeld? Let's go.
You know, shit. Pull up. Let's pull up. Pull up. What's up, Jerry? I see you on the Kif commercials. What's up?
Yeah, it's right. There's something very hollow to just mentioning things without any kind of context.
Indeed.
Or at least be like, throw something left field, like reference someone like Scaramanga or something, like
yeah,
instead of just, someone obvious.
Yeah.
Someone that needs their flowers more, that's the way I think it's just
Scaramanga
more
references
impressive.
are way better than Wale ones.
There you go.
Yeah, from the podcast Wale. If you go through our archives, you will see a lot of unfriendly references to Wale.
Leave the man alone. He's polishing his sneakers.
Still got his Nike boots.
The exclusive ones. I'll never take away from his fashion. My man is killing it. But like, and hey, we mentioned Jerry. Don't talk bad about Wale. He knows Jerry. Don't talk bad.
He's got him on speed dial for sure.
You make a call. Yo.
All right, should we move on to Bluue Edwards or
Seinfeld?
Val, you got any questions about?
I think
ShrapKnel?
Yeah.
I mean, we've got another ShrapKnel album to cover as well, so we'll probably bring up more things there.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, I'm rolling with y'all. You see, my team is in a tight one, but I'm hanging in with y'all.
Appreciate it.
Well, we've got all the ShrapKnel. I'm sorry. We've got the Wrecking Crew Posse albums too. We've got Steel's Kitchen and
Let's go.
too. So basically, I did mention, I kind of touched on this earlier, that I felt like around, Zilla's unretirement, there was a change in the Wrecking Crew sort of release model and everything. And I feel like there was a lot more motivation to put out, I guess, different product around this time period. Indeed. So it was, So can you touch upon that a little bit? Like the production?
So I think like we're talking about 2020 in particular.
Yeah, like maybe it was COVID time, I guess.
Okay, so that
things.
Yeah, that came up, and I remember for Bluue in particular, I had a mix up at the plant, right? So I ordered some CDs. This ain't funny, but I ordered CDs from this company, right? And we'd been using this company for a few years now, and I ordered CDs from this company, and they had a nice low price rate, and my plan was selling out these CDs. This seems like it could be a popular project. And once I get that money, immediately turn it into vinyl. So that was the plan. I was supposed to do Bluue Edwards vinyl from back in the day. And I put in the order with this company, and I hit them up and, check on them and all that stuff. And they give you a little update sometimes. And I went there and the website was gone. And I'm like, okay, the website was totally different and gone from what I was used to. And it was telling you to go to this such and such to any issues or whatever. And I was like, okay. And pretty much the company went out of business and disappeared with my money. And I had no CDs to call to speak for it. So I was like, fuck. And my plan was, so I only ordered 50 CDs from them. So I was gonna hopefully just make it a quick flip. You know what I'm saying? And what ended up happening is I ended up having an order from another company, and they made me order 100 CDs. So my price point was, my investment changed. So I'm out that order, and then I had to order double what I wanted, and I had to pay more for it. And so I was just like, how am I going to release this? Because I was waiting for a Bandcamp day, I think. And also, I wanted to have the CDs in hand. That's why I used the other company. So it was thrown off my schedule, too, by that order going kaput. And so I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? And so Bandcamp Day came about, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I wanted to have the physicals in hand. I didn't want to do like a pre-order thing. I wanted to be able to mail them out as soon as possible, but I have to wait for the new order to come in. So I said, but I'm dropping them on Bandcamp Day anyway. And what that did was, not to be it got me, I don't know, maybe $300 digitally, because you know how they let you keep everything. And that totally saved that whole project by me actually dropping it on a Bandcamp Day and keeping all the proceeds and being able to push those CDs, because they took me a little while to sell because I had to change. So we were just adamant to have product, you know what I'm saying? And so even though ShrapKnel was doing well, and the surprising thing about ShrapKnel was when we dropped the ShrapKnel record, me and Prem, rightfully so, we assumed because we're a new group, even though we are solo artists and people knew about that, being a group, you kind of reinvent yourself. So you're kind of starting from scratch again. And we thought we would have to tour the record like crazy to sell it. We didn't think anybody would know about it, and we would have to go on the road pretty hard to sell it. But COVID was around and you couldn't go on the road. And because you couldn't go on the road, people had more time to just order it and sit with it and ingest it that way. And that was very good for us. That did us very well. People gave us really glowing praise for the record, a lot of good reviews. People were down with the movement at the beginning of this new duo and shit. And so not being able to tour and perform it actually did us better than we thought. We thought it was a disaster because, like I said, we thought we were going to have to go on the road, and we couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Shows that dried up. We had a tour plan and it dried up right in front of our face. So, you know, COVID was a blessing and a curse as it was, but it still turned out okay.
I mean, can you also speak to the changes with Bandcamp in terms of like the change to Song Trader? How's that worked out for you as an independent musician, like your paydays and whatnot?
I mean, they got funny with what they take. Now they take physical. They didn't at first. They take a bite out of everything now, it seems like. So I think it's just about having a good relationship with your customer base. And sometimes you have to tell them in time that yo, we're gonna change the shipping. You know, we have to. You know what I'm saying? Shipping got really weird around COVID time. And so it wasn't just the acquisition of Bandcamp. Like when Trump was in there messing around, he had appointed a new postmaster general, and literally that motherfucker was fucking shit up. They were dismantling sorting machines. All the shipping went sky high at one time. It was like $20-$30 to send something like to Ireland when it used to be like $8. And so that like I said, you have to have a good relationship with your fan base and let them know these changes are coming. Sometimes it takes me a month or two to get stuff out, you know, for manufacturing reasons and stuff. And once you build up those good relationships, then you're able to weather those type of storms. So when COVID hit and all those things came about, everybody was still rocking with us. You know what I'm saying? And we were able to increase our fan base, I think. So,
I mean,
you know.
I actually have a funny Backwoodz related story that if you listen to our Haram episode, I ordered the Haram CD with the no ganja, no Moreno shirt that got confiscated by our post office because they thought I was buying drugs.
Get out of here, because wait, how can they read the shirt? It was written in the item line?
No, they thought it was because it was a media mail thing because it had a CD in it. But they're like, this isn't a CD. And then they fucking took it and then they opened it and made me go to the post office and they lectured me about how this is media mail, but it has a shirt in it. And they thought it was contraband. Yeah, if you listen to our episode of this is me whining about it for the first 20 minutes of the episode. And I had to go deal with some post office person who wouldn't wear a mask, who was lecturing me in 2021 about how I tried to order a CD in heavy air quotes that wasn't a CD because she thought I was trying to buy drugs.
That's hilarious.
With a shirt that says literally no ganja on it.
Wow. That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
That's dope. That's funny.
But yeah, shout out to Trump's postmaster general. I think it's very funny, by the way, that the post police are the ones who arrested Roger Stone.
I know, right? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't.
And yeah, Roger. So yeah, it's great. Fucking system works. So, speaking of the system working, Little Robert Hutton, an album about how the system works, or
yeah, right. Yeah, no, actually, it is. It's how the system works.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. To be fair, yeah, it's about how the system works to work. I do feel a lot better about this album than I did the last time I talked about it on the show.
Good.
Yeah, it's
bringing people around.
No, it's no first listen album. I will say that, and I think by design.
Yeah, I mean it's what is it? What do I call August in 4 parts? Black August in 4 parts.
Right. Yeah, that's a good example.
So that came about because remember I told y'all Hutton sends you an avalanche of beats, and I'd asked them to submit beats, and my plan was pretty much to have like maybe 2 beats a producer, and then place them in separate parts of the album, so show some type of cohesion. Because you're like, oh, this sounds like such and such. You know what I'm saying? I heard this early in the record, but he sent so many good beats, y'all. I was like, oh my God, right? And so I was pulling the beats together. And I was like, damn, I don't want to make 4 or 5 Fanon songs, and have to cut them. You know what I'm saying? And so that was my thing. I was like, man, if these joints are so ill, but if I write a song to each of them, I'm gonna have to cut something. And so what I ended up doing was, it was funny because I started coming up with hooks first, which not normally my process. Sometimes I write verses first. A lot I write verses first. And so I had hooks for these beats, but I didn't have any verses yet. And so I said, all right, you know what, Castro? Fuck it. Write a verse for each beat. And so that way you can get right back to them hooks and put it all together. And that way you can have this many Fanon appearances and it not seem too gaudy, and you not have to have any stark decisions when you finish the record. Because as you notice, I have another song on there called Bleak Shadows, and that has 2 beats on it. Those are 2 Fanon beats. So that's like 6. So I was able to get away with 6 Fanon beats on 2 songs. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty proud of myself on that. So like, you know, so I think there's some investment with the listener. Some of the songs ain't breezy. I give you that. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I would argue none of the songs are breezy. What I would say is Cujo Taught Me and Owens both are like nothing you've ever done.
Cujo Taught Me and Owens.
Yeah, they're like drum and bass almost. They're like,
yeah, I was gonna think of the flow. Yeah, Owens. Yeah, I pick it up a little bit. That was on purpose. I wanted to actually write a slave narrative, and so I was like, who can rap fast? And I got that beat from Dose 4 GW.
Wait,
I was like,
Cujo Taught Me. That credit's on Griff. What I
no,
say?
we saying Owens. You said
Talking
Owens.
about Owens, yeah.
I said Cujo Taught Me and Owens. So yeah.
So talk about Owens first. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So Owens, I wanted to write like a slave allegory, like an escape, slave narrative, if you will, because of the speed. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure when you escape the plantation, your heart is racing, your mind is even going even faster. So I was like, all right, boom. I said, all right, I can get Alaska to give me that old time style, and Sketch can rap fast. And so Alaska is the abolitionist that helps in between, and me and Sketch are the escaped enslaved. And so I was like, all right, boom, I could do that. So that was deliberate. And also that hook is something I wanted my friend to sing for years, but she never would commit to singing it. And so I just found the original sample and had Marcus Spin scratch it up. And then Cujo Taught Me was like, okay, I wanted to get some, you know, my little reggae influences on the record. And that piece in the between, I can say it now, it ain't gonna pinch me, is from a versus battle clash between Buju and Beanie Man.
Oh shit.
And so I remember watching the verses, as we all did during COVID, and really digging that part. And when I was writing Cujo's Griff, and I was like, you know what? I want to put a sample in this. You know, usually it's like a movie sample or something. So I was thinking maybe something from Shotters or whatever like that. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to put that piece from verses that I like so much in this fucking song. And I'll just claim it's like a movie sample. And they were like, really? You going to do it? I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm going to do that. And so I did it. And everybody likes that song. I did that song over in Paris. It went off like gangbusters. Everybody in Paris and France loves that record. We did it over there, and it came off well. It is exhaustive. It really is hard to do. So I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, and I don't do it that often. But yeah, so I was just trying things out. And I was really just trying to be in my bag. I mean, the record, you know, is an homage to Little Bobby. The first drawn blood of the Black Panther resistance movement. And I called it Little Robert Hutton because I wanted people, they don't even know him, period. So I wanted to give him some dignity, give him and say his full name in the title, and also take Little and stretch it out to Little, like give it its full breath, and let people know I'm serious. And so there's a little bit of that, a little bit of resistance music in it, but I wanted to just be serious. I did a lot of research. I came up in that struggle. I came up learning that knowledge, and I wanted to just do it justice. And so I hope I did.
I mean, I think it's really one of my favorite bits of writing you've ever done is To Switchness to Killmonger is Right back to back. I think is a really good sense of perspective.
Oh, thank you.
So,
And you got Breeze Bruin on a track. I mean,
yes,
that's, pretty monumental, right?
Yes, and that was I'm such a big fan of the Juggernauts, and big fan of Breeze. And so when I reached out to him, and he was so gracious to honor me. Like Breeze, you got to catch him. If it's during the school year, he's a teacher. He ain't got the time. You know what I'm saying? So if you catch him in good pockets, we have the time to write you something. He's gonna bless you with something gorgeous. He's on the new ShrapKnel record, and among some other folks. So I hope people enjoy that. And I salute him. I'm good people. We're peoples. I can hit him. I can text him. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad for that. And that was big because the verse is crazy. And then he blessed me some more by being willing to do the video with me. And I never thought he would have the time. You don't want to assume people's time and stuff like that. So that was really dope. But yeah, I really like that song.
Yeah, and this is another album with quite a few Tomorrow Kings appearances as well. So
yep,
it's always appreciated to see those cats.
Yeah, they help a brother out. Definitely, they always on the call.
You got Marcus Pin on here at the beginning and end, and he just put something out on Wrecking Crew. So shout out to that. Everybody should check that album.
Night Music, yes, that's on $3 Pistol. So yeah, please go get that. Banging tape. The packaging is dope.
DVD Criterion DVD for sure. So yeah.
Do you think you'll do another album where you have the opening? You don't rap until about 3 minutes in, like because it's
it was interesting that people really they took to that. Like it was interesting how a lot of people noticed that. I just felt like it was important to not put the horse before the carriage, and so it was important to lay the groundwork about praising Little Bobby and giving him his due and his just desserts and his flowers, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And noticing his place in history. And so then I always wanted to do that song, that Chain Gang song from this movie. It's an original song, but they put it in this movie called Cadence with Charlie Sheen, and I think Lawrence Fishburne is in it too. And so they used to always do that jig, and I wanted it in a song so bad. So I hit up Margell, as I always do when I need some excellent singing, and he got I think Candace Nicole is on there too. That's her name. Is that what it says?
Candace Murray, I think it says.
Candace Murray, yeah. And then she added her piece to it, and so I was just into all of that. So when he did his piece, like I remember just asking him to do that hook and acapella wise, and I was gonna put on something. He put the piano to it. He had the backgrounds and all, and that's like this third version of it. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna use all of this. So it just was only right that he went first. That piece went first, and then we got into the song. That was another Dose 4G Dub masterpiece, master mash.
So were the beats on this one, was it a similar thing to Tosh where you gave the producers an assignment, or was it beats you were sitting on that you thought fit with the overall concept, or how did that work
this one I just put out a call. I always put out that call sometimes, and I'll hit up a couple of producers. I need some beats, and they'll send me like 3 or 4, and then I start from there. Yeah, Little Rob Hutton definitely was like me on the hunt, doing my my Ice Cube due diligence, trekking around the beat landscape, seeing what people got. Run your shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I hit people up, and they submitted things, and I think I was pretty deliberate with hitting a few producers up. There's a couple of beats I wish I used, but I never got to. But it was deliberate. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, shout out to Locust, who I have not really checked for in the past. Only has 6 credits on RYM.
And hey, stay tuned.
Pretty much Backwoodz. So yeah.
Stay tuned. He's producing the new solo I'm working on. He did.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's really something. We're trying to be a little ambitious here with that one. But yeah, he did all the production on my next solo. So he'll be getting a little shine next few years.
Nice.
All right, so if we got nothing else to say on Little Robert Hutton, we can move on to Metal Lung with its incredibly dope fucking cover art.
Shane the Wizard, yo. And I gave Shane instructions, and he just went into outer space with it. Jesus Christ.
This is like 1983 Blade Runner ass cover art right here.
Yeah, like the detail is crazy. He's crazy. He's and they're good in the best way. Shane is out there.
Yeah, this is, I think, probably an album that speaks very well to just, I would say, information paralysis.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I feel like we were trying to represent, like, this is what a ShrapKnel metropolis is like. So every corner, it could be a new thing. Every time you, like, that's how it is walking around Uptown. Every time you turn a corner on 145th, here goes something else, some other thing happening. And it was just, I was into my brutalism architecture, futurism bag. And so I just wanted something to look like that. And I just gave, it was detailed, the instructions I gave Shane, but it was even more detailed, the results. And so, like, we got into our psychedelics. This is definitely a heady album, if you will, if anybody knows what that is. So, you can take a couple of enhancements and check it out, and I think it'll be rewarding.
I mean, it very much feels like a modern analog to the Cold Vein, although you guys are both definitely different rappers than, Vortal and Vast. But I think in terms of what you're trying to express, I think it kind of feels like modern day analog to 20 years later to that.
Dope. Yeah, definitely, big ups to Cannibal Ox in their formative years. More big ups to Vortal, because Vortal was the he definitely was the birth of all of their slang. Everything they came up with, that all came from Vortal. And so, anything I could do this reference to them and a nod to them, we try.
Mescalito is one of my favorites on here. Also, Damn Alice, I think, is a really good example of you guys weaving literary references in, but still like kind of keeping it in a hip hop milieu.
Oh yeah, we was trying. That to me, it was more Jabberwocky, the Jabberwocky poem than Alice in Wonderland. That's how I approached it.
Yeah, that's what I meant by literary, like literary, like that, like.
Yeah. It was all big up to Mr. Carroll. All that shit.
I mean, yeah, he's a creep.
Yeah, exactly. So the song is just as creepy, and we had the scratches on there from
right. Like I wasn't saying big up him, but like more the.
And also, this is also reappearance of Fakts. Fakts through those scratches.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
on the record. So he helped out with that too.
The Zilla and Bill Woods features on here are also real cool to see. I didn't see them on the track list, so it was nice surprises when they both showed up.
Yeah, that was deliberate. We hooked that up, and then the surprise was fully unzipped when we did the remix, because the remix actually features Billy Woods. But yeah, I was like, we're gonna put them on here, but let's not list them. Him and Zilla. Zilla loves it. He loves stuff like that, and I feel like like I said, I'm a fan as well. So I remember when things like that would happen on records that I bought, and I'd be so giddy. I'm like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like One of Four is like one of my most favorite A$AP Rock songs, and that's on that's at the end of Daylight. You keep fast forwarding it. I think it is at the end of Daylight or end of Fast Cars, whatever. He has a bonus track called One of Four. I think it's on Daylight.
It speaks to you guys as like fucking delivering on a Backwoodz, whatever. Because this came out, like I got this like before it was supposed to come out. Like this came like 4 days early to my house, and I was playing in my car. So yeah,
no doubt.
Just I suppose the one of the things about this album is it's all different producers to the self-titled. What was the kind of process there in terms of choosing who you wanted to produce this album?
Well, we always like to give credit to Steel Tip Dove as doing the majority of the beats, because that's what started this album. We were in album mode, but we hadn't picked the producers or producer at the time. We were thinking about going back to Elucid. We bounced that around, and we didn't know yet. So we were just kind of ready to write, but we didn't know where we wanted to go exactly. And one day Dove was like, hey, you want to hear some beats I've been working on? Now, Dove always plays you beats, but this time he had like a different tone. Like he had these beats in the tuck or something like that. And we was like, yeah, we want to hear these beats. What you talking about? We're here all the time. What is like Dove is so silly sometimes. And so he plays these beats that like Dove has many styles. And these beats just had a certain energy and a certain villainy to them, if you will. And we was like, yo, what is this? And we snatched a bunch of them up and we was like, yo, Dove, you just want to make the next record? And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. So we got to work. And then we fleshed it out with hitting up Olaf and Child Actor. So we think we claim it as like Dove did most of the productions and then they filled out the other 5. Dove did 8 beats. And I think Olaf did 2 and I think Child Actor did 3.
Nice.
That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like Dove has taken a lot more of an assertive role lately with Backwoodz, like in the past couple of years.
Yeah, call me when you're outside. He's always been like Dove produced my first. See, we skipped something. Dove produced my first appearance on an Arm & Hammer project, which was on Half Measures. I got 2 verses on there. And that's like this mixtapey thing they did. At first, they put that out before.
Right, that was
music.
Right. But actually, what I want to talk, I mean, we didn't talk about this, was Furtive Movements.
Yeah, we get to
love that EP.
Yeah, so all that's in the same vein. So Dove produced The Good Die Mostly Over Bullshit. And that's when I caught wind of him and I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of nice and stuff like that. And he's also worked with Shirt, and he used to work with Astronaut. What's the guy's name? Astronautilus? Is that his name? Is that old rapper, white guy?
You're talking about
sounds like an old white rapper name, yeah.
Yes, I think his name is Astronautilus. I could be wrong. Forgive me if I am. And so that's how I caught wind of Dove. So in a sense though, but then his studio became the hub. So if you wanted to get something done, you would go to Brooklyn. And so everybody kind of started flowing through there. And so yeah, so when he played us the pack, we was like, all right, let's do it. And so he started producing the majority of it. And yeah, he's a big factor in current day Backwoodz. Big factor.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of dictated a lot of the recent Arm & Hammer sound, like post, I guess, Paraffin would be a lot. I don't know if anyone dictates the sound aside from Woods, but you know what I mean. Like,
hold on 1 second. Hold on, I gotta take a call. Give me 2 seconds.
No, go for it.
Oh no, y'all just tied it up, you punk asses. Y'all just tied it up.
We should keep this on.
You just tied it up. Y'all ain't shit. No worry. Get out of here. Don't worry. What is up? We had to leave. We still got it. You still got y'all.
So as you know, Dallas is playing OKC. Oh, they just scored. And my label vice president is at the game.
Oh, no shit. Damn.
We have real.
We should leave that snippet in for, like, you know, a special subscriber package. You know,
Yeah,
like
you can leave
it's extra content.
That's funny.
Patreons only. Yeah.
Yeah, our Patreons are all of them.
Where were we at? We were just talking about Steel Tip Dove, weren't we?
Yes.
We're just kind of talking about how he had influenced the recent Backwoodz sound, but
Yeah, he definitely is. He definitely has a big hand in it. And salutes to the man.
But we can wrap this up though. I mean, we can kind of wind down because I got like a final thought, Jerry Springer style.
Okay.
Basically, when we do the discographies, I kind of try and wrap up things up by saying, what is the entry point for a new listener? What was your favorite? And what do you think is the best? And we've never gotten a chance to ask the actual artist what they think about this. So what's your personal favorite? What do you think is your best? And what would be an entry point, you think, for a new listener?
Now, this is for my entire discography.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah.
My
I know,
favorite. Yeah, it is. My favorite is Tosh. A good entry point for people, I think, is Little Robert Hutton, so you can know how serious I take it. And what was the third?
And yeah, so be favorite, best, and good entry point. So yeah, favorite, best, and good.
And the best is ShrapKnel work. That's the best work I've ever done.
So like, what would, yeah, all right. I think that's fair that all the shrapnel is the best. What would you say is the best of the shrapnel though?
It's the new one coming out. It's our
All right.
best
Yeah.
one.
So you should check for that. Listeners,
The pre-order is up. It's called Nobody Playing in the League. Pre-order is up at backwoodstudios.com. So get that, and it drops on June 7th.
All right. You should.
Is there anything you can tell us about it? I mean, it's the one producer album, right?
Yeah, so the whole project was done by Controller 7. If anybody familiar with his Anticon work from back in the days, and his instrumental work in the current iteration, and he's really dope and really talented. And we got who's on there? Breeze Bruin is on there. Henry Osborne is on there.
Oh well.
Lungs is on there. Open Mike Eagle is on there. And Elucid is on there.
Nice.
Yep. Check for that when it drops. Backwoodstudios.com. Thought Foul, thank you as always for being a guest host. Curly Castro, pleasure, honor, and a privilege for joining us.
Yeah, salute.
We are living off borrowed time. Our intro music, as always, is by June Classic, the Borrowed Time instrumental by not Billy Woods. And our outro music, as always, is Can Kick Stagnant Pace. We are living off borrowed time. Peace out.
Peace.
It ain't gonna never stop. 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 It ain't gonna never stop.
Time will tell. Time is yet to be conquered by man. But when the time is right, perhaps the greatest revelation of all time will dawn upon us.